Beginning with a gentle golden wind and light rain, the master of ceremonies, with a single stroke, surprises the world. This video is purely for entertainment, and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting, and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 451, Yama Village, 3 Yama Kings, 10 Yama Lewis, Chen County, Lai Family. Liao is receiving Lihu. Uncle Lihu, even if the secret guards fail, you don't have to come to Chen County in person. Leave it to me, my nephew. I can still help you kill those beggars. Liao, who was sitting opposite Lihu, said. I came here this time, not only to deal with the people behind those beggars, but also to meet with the people from Yanwang Village. Lihu said in a deep voice. Yanwang Village, our Lai family wants to cooperate with Yanwang Village? Hearing this, Liao was shocked. He didn't expect that Lihu came here to meet the people from Yanwang Village. Yanwang Village is located in a place called Shahu Mountain at the intersection of Chang County, Cheyenne County, and Changgyu County. This is a place where no one is in charge. Of course, the main reason for this is that the power of Yanwang Village is too strong. There are only 3 Yanwangs in Yanwang Village, Jin Yanwang, Yin Yanwang, and Tai Yanwang. These 3 are masters of the 9 rare heavens. Among them, the strength of Jin Yanwang has almost reached the realm of concentration in the sea. Under the 3 Hades, there are 10 Yama palaces. The Yama village is full of traps. If ordinary people go in, they will die. Moreover, the 3 Yama palaces and the 10 Yama palaces of the Yama village are cruel and often kill people and rob people. Many people want to eradicate the Yama village, but the heads of those who go there are hung at the gate of the Yama village. Now, there are countless skulls piled up at the gate of the Yama village. Their Lai family is a Jiangnan family, and they still need a reputation. So he didn't know what cooperation their Lai family could have with the Yama village. Killing people and robbing goods, Lihu said. Murder and robbery? Liao was a little confused when he heard this. After all, it's going to happen around your Chang County, so it's okay to tell you. The eldest disciple, Bei Wuji, of Taishang Wuji sect, one of the 3 sects under the Taoist Holy Land, recently obtained a fragment of an ancient Taoist scroll. It is rumored that this fragment is one of the Taoist secret books. The people from the Zenwu Taoist temple are going to the capital, so Bei Wuji will take this fragment to the capital. I came here this time, just to use the help of Yanwang's He to kill Bei Wuji, and take the fragment away from him, Lihu said. Hearing this, Liao frowned slightly. Uncle Lihu, my Lai family can do this. Why should we let Yanwang's He take action? Liao asked with some confusion. The Supreme Wuji sect supports the 13th prince. If our Lai family takes direct action, then the 7th prince will be hostile to the 13th prince. The 7th prince is already in trouble in the court. If he has another opponent, it will be bad for him. If it is the people from the King of Hell village who take action, and we buy the secret book back from the King of Hell village, who can use this as an excuse? Lihu said. In fact, many times, everyone knows who did it, but without an excuse, there is no opportunity to take action. Nephew, I understand, but the people in the King of Hell village are extremely cruel. I'm afraid that, after they get the secret scroll, they won't give it to us, Liao said. The King of Hell village can make the 3 counties ignore it, which shows its strength. I have something that King Jin needs here, and he will give it to us. Besides, it's useless for him to have that thing, Lihu said confidently. Let's not talk about the King of Hell village first. You should have investigated the situation of those beggars. Tell me what you think. Lihu changed the subject. Uncle Lihu, now this group of beggars has appeared in my Chang County government. It seems that there is a move. However, the gathering of beggars is undoubtedly just a riot. What else can be done? These beggars are too weak and useless. Killing them will only take some effort. The most important thing is the people behind these beggars. I'm waiting for these people to show up. But according to my guess, they should take some action. Speaking of this, Uncle Lihu, can you ask the people from Yanwang's He to help me and get rid of Liu Qingyao, the governor of Chang County? This Liu Qingyao has always wanted to suppress me. If the people from Yanwang's get rid of her, no one will say anything, Liao said. It is rumored that you and Liu Qingyo don't get along. I didn't expect that you don't get along to this extent. Then when the people from Yanwang's come this time, let them take action. However, Liu Qingyo cannot die. You can cripple her martial arts. Without martial arts, you can cripple her. You can control her or drive her out of Chang County, Li Hu said. Thank you, Uncle Li Hu. I have already arranged the banquet tonight. Uncle Li Hu, I specially prepared the Kiangshao wine you like to drink. Liao stood up and said, let's go. Li Hu seemed very happy. He followed Liao out of the banquet hall with his two entourages. Not far away, there was a banquet pavilion in the back hall. The night gradually appeared, but the pavilion was brightly lit. Several people sat down one after another. I didn't expect that there would be so many delicious foods. It really makes me, an old beggar, greedy. While speaking, a roast chicken on the table flew away in an instant, and 3 figures fell down. Who are you? Seeing this situation, the guards in the mansion gathered instantly and went towards the 3 people. All retreat. At this time, Liao stood up and whispered. His servants were good at dealing with ordinary warriors, but they were really not good at dealing with 3 beggars. It seems that you should be from the beggar gang. I don't know what to call you. This is Liao's mansion, so the things that come out should be left to him, Liao. But Li Hu and his two entourages looked at the 3 people who fell down with a vigilant look. The strength of these 3 people is not simple. Although their aura is restrained, and their strength cannot be seen, they appeared at this time, and they should be coming for Li Hu. The 9-bag elder Lu Yaoi of the beggar gang, the 8-bag elder Shan Hu, and Jin Yuanling. The 3 people said, the 9-bag elder, the 8-bag elder. Everyone's eyes were focused on the pockets of the 3 people. For the beggar gang, their levels are still relatively vague. I haven't heard of the 1-bag and 2-bag sayings in the beggar gang before. Now from this point of view, the beggar gang uses the bags on the body as the size of the position. Thinking of this, Li Hu and Liao's expressions are condensed. If the beggar gang is in this situation, then their previous guesses about the beggar gang are wrong. Previously, they just thought that someone was planning something behind this group of beggars. But from the current situation, the beggar gang is large. Then they have to take it seriously. I don't know why the 3 beggar gang elders came to my Lai mansion, Liao asked. But his eyes signaled to the housekeeper next to him, and the housekeeper slowly retreated. What's the matter? Hasn't your Lai family been looking for trouble with our beggars sect? Of course we have to come to pay a visit. Lu Yaoi took a bite of the roast chicken in his hand and said. Paying a visit, Elder Lu, this is not the way to pay a visit. What's more, your beggar sect killed my Lai family's secret guards. Don't you want to give an explanation? Li Hu slowly stood up at this time, and while he was talking, an extremely strong aura burst out. Like a flood, it roared towards Lu Yaoi. Li Hu, when warriors fight, life and death are determined by fate. They come to kill us, that's them looking for death. Of course, today, you will also die here. Lu Yaoi no longer talked nonsense with the other party at this time, put the roast chicken in his arms, and said coldly. Chapter 452, Kyo Feng's move, crushing the enemy. It seems that Elder Lu is very confident in your strength. Li Hu looked at Lu Yaoi and the other 2 and said coldly. Young master, Lord Li Hu, there are no beggars gang outside the mansion. At this time, the housekeeper who had retreated earlier came back and said that he had just been instructed to see if there were any beggars gang outside. After checking, he did not find anyone, so he immediately returned to inform, you 3 dare to come to my Lai mansion, Uncle Li Hu. If we take down these 3 people today, we should be able to know a lot of news about the beggars gang. Liao said coldly. You are really arrogant. Lord, let us learn from these 3 people's skills. At this time, the 2 people who followed Li Hu stood up at the same time, and they jumped in front of Lu Yaoi and the other 2. One of them waved his hand, and a silver spear appeared, and the other held a long sword in his hand. The ki of the 2 people burst out, and passed on to the weapons in their hands. A low humming sound burst out from the weapons, echoing in the courtyard. Lai family, Wan Yan. Lai family, Mu Yuan. After saying that, the 2 men burst out with a strong ki, which formed a wave, and went towards Lu Yaoi and the other 2. 2 trash, dare to come out. At this time, Chen Hu stepped out. His ki burst out, and a ki that far exceeded the two of them swept out like a wave. 8 difficulties of heaven and man. Sensing the aura of Chen Hu, Li Hu's eyes were stunned. The strength of his 2 men was only the 7th and 6th difficulties of heaven and man. The 2 of them would probably not be the opponent of the 8 difficulties of heaven and man together. But he did not let the 2 stop. Kill. Chen Hu's momentum was higher than the 2 of the Li family, so the 2 of the Li family's secret guards came out first. They stomped heavily on the ground, and the strong force shattered the ground. Then the 2 of them shot out violently. One of them took out a long sword in his hand, and a heavy sword energy burst out from the long sword. It was purely based on strength. It was like a mountain falling, and the sound of a sonic boom. Bang bang sounded continuously, and the dead branches on the ground were all shattered by the energy. This was to let Chen Hu take the knife head on. Chen Hu turned the bamboo stick in his hand, and a huge energy flowed into the bamboo stick. With a stick, a huge energy burst out from the bamboo stick, collided with the long knife. When the 2 forces collided, a silver light suddenly pierced Chen Hu's heart like cold stars. Seeing this, Chen Hu sneered. He raised his palm. A dragon roar appeared in his palm. As an 8-bag elder, he also practiced the beggar gang's unique skills, the 18 dragon palms. It's just that he didn't learn the 18 palms, but he also learned more than a dozen moves. The palm power was overbearing, and a golden dragon shadow burst out from his palm, collided with the stabbing silver spear. Bang! Mu Yuan, who made the move, suddenly felt a huge force from the spear to his arm. The arm exploded in an instant. At this time, Chen Hu had already retracted the bamboo stick in his hand, and instantly pointed it out again, extremely fast. The injured Mu Yuan had no time to react, and his throat was stabbed. Swish! Blood flowed. After a successful attack, Chen Hu turned around and attacked the knife-wielding man. The bamboo stick in his hand was like a dark green cloud, covering his body. He raised his knife to resist, but after several times, scars appeared all over his body. Uncle Li Hu, the strength of this beggar gang's 8-bag elder is in the 8 difficulties of heaven and man, and the strength of the 9-bag elder, 9 difficulties of heaven and man. Let the remaining guards around you test it. Li Hu said coldly. Okay. Liao nodded and waved his hand gently. In the dark of the courtyard, a sharp red light suddenly shot out. The one who attacked was a man in a dark red robe, and the attack was very fist-like. The fist was covered with red light. This red light was sharp and overbearing, and the target was the leader Lu Yaowei. Jin Yuanling beside him wanted to attack, but was stopped by Lu Yaowei. You are no match for this man. I will kill him. Jin Yuanling and others are not geniuses. They do not have the ability to kill people above their level. So Lu Yaowei did not let Jin Yuanling attack. He attacked himself, raised his palm, and a golden light burst out from his palm. He slapped out and collided with the other person's palm. The person who attacked was shocked and flew backwards. But after flying backwards, the other party did not seem to feel any pain, and his body shot out again. And the Kijin on his fist began to change, and the Kijin turned into a ferocious crocodile-like figure, heading towards Lu Yaowei. The king's eye of the 7 difficulties of heaven and man has been suppressed by Chen Hu, and his aura is constantly weakening. It is estimated that he can't hold on for a few more times. Butler, go help Commander Wang. Liao took a look at the situation here and said, the butler beside Liao is also Liao's guard, and his strength is at the 8 difficulties of heaven and man. After receiving the order, he rushed towards Chen Hu. At this time, Jin Yuanling turned around and blocked the opponent's way. For a while, the two fought. Their strengths were both in the 8 difficulties of heaven and man, and it was uncertain who was stronger and who was weaker. With your strength, you dare to come to Lai Mansion. Don't you take me, Li Hu, seriously? Looking at this situation, Li Hu said with a cold look in his eyes. Of course I will kill you, Commander Li Hu. At this time, Qiao Feng jumped down and looked at Li Hu. Who are you? Qiao Feng, the leader of the Beggars sect, has come to learn from Commander Li Hu's high skills. As Qiao Feng spoke, he leaped towards Li Hu, and the golden dragon shadow rolled in his palm, and he directly performed the 18 dragon subduing palms. He could have taken action to get rid of these people by himself, but the Beggars sect needed to develop and show others some of its strength. The 9-bag and 8-bag elders were powerful and needed others to know about them. Qiao Feng, who took action, was like a golden god of war, with a rolling aura around him, and a proud aura that soared into the sky. He did not give Li Hu any chance to display his skills, so he could only fight him head on. Lai family burning flame palm. Li Hu shouted in a low voice, and a huge flame energy burst out from his palm, heading towards Qiao Feng. Bang! The palms of the two collided. Li Hu's color suddenly changed, and he felt a huge force pouring into his body. His burning flame energy was no match for the opponent. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out from the corner of his mouth. Your strength is not an ordinary heavenly 9 difficulties, Li Hu said. But as soon as he finished speaking, the whole person exploded directly, and then his broken body fell to the ground. There was an absolute gap in strength. He could only be said to be courting death by fighting with Qiao Feng head on. Seeing this, Liao's face changed, and he turned around, ready to flee. But Qiao Feng raised his hand, and a dragon claw key flowed in his hand, and finally flew out, and grabbed Liao's head. Li Hu is dead. Can you still escape? Bang! Liao's head was crushed directly. In other battlefields, except for the remnant guard fighting with Lu Yaowei, he was not affected, and continued to attack. The other two were stunned after seeing Li Hu and Liao dead, and they were directly seized by the opportunity and killed. Notify the people of the beggar gang. Take away all the resources controlled by the Lai family, Qiao Feng said coldly. Chapter 453, Fierce Liu Kingao. I would rather die than let my friend die. The beggars sect moved quickly. The restaurants, inns, banks, and brothels controlled by Liao were besieged at the first moment. The beggars sect disciples appeared like a torrent, and did not give the other side any reaction. Of course, there were some who resisted, but among this group of beggars there were 300 formal beggars sect disciples, who were very strong, so even if they resisted, it would be useless. It would just be more blood on the ground. As for the Lai mansion, a group of beggars sect disciples rushed in and quickly began to move things in the Lai mansion. Boss, now we have resources, and our development will be better in the future. The herbs in the backyard warehouse have been shipped out and secretly dispersed to Luocheng. I believe that they can suppress some plagues over there. Lu Yaowei appeared in front of Qiao Feng and said. At this moment, there was a scar on his right arm, which was left when he fought with the remnant guard of the Lai family. Although the remnant guard of the Lai family entered the 9 difficulties of heaven and man with a special method, he was also very strong. Lu Yaowei paid a certain price to kill the opponent. The situation won't be good. We have to face the Lai family next. There is also the thing that Bei Wuji, a disciple of the Supreme Wuji sect, mentioned just now. I think that thing will be useful to the master. We need to take it and send it to the master. Qiao Feng said in a deep voice. The leader is planning to attack Bei Wuji of the Supreme Wuji sect. We are facing the Lai family and then the Supreme Wuji sect. I'm afraid. Lu Yaowei said in a deep voice. Use the King of Hell village. Qiao Feng said coldly. But the people of the King of Hell village are meeting the people of the Lai family, and we are afraid that we can't contact them. Lu Yaowei said. Then pretend to be someone from the Lai family. Anyway, the matter of the Supreme Wuji sect has nothing to do with our beggars sect. When Qiao Feng spoke, he raised his hand and grabbed the Lai family token on Li Hu's waist. Elder Chen, you immediately pay attention to the traces of Bei Wuji and the people of the King of Hell village. Qiao Feng said. Yes. Chen, who immediately took the order and left. On the other side, in the county governor's mansion, Liu Kingao listened to the news. You mean the beggars gang killed Li Hu and Liao and robbed all the resources of the Lai family and are transporting them out of the city? Liu Kingao asked in disbelief. Yes. County magistrate, what should we do now? Should we use manpower to intercept them? If we do nothing, I'm afraid the Lai family will cause trouble for us. A woman in a green robe below her said. Dispatch some people to maintain order in the county government. Don't contact the beggars gang to avoid conflicts. If they dare to touch the Lai family, I don't think they will be merciful if we become their enemy. Just pretend to be. Liu Kingao calmed down and said. Previously, her idea was just to squeeze Liao out, but now not only Liao was killed, but also Li Hu who came here was killed. Things are completely beyond expectations. How dare they kill Li Hu and Liao? Are they going to fight with the Lai family? Do you beggars gang have such strength? Liu Kangyo frowned slightly when she said this. Could it be that the beggar's sect's previous target was Li Hu and Liao? I might have been tricked by this Kyo Feng. Liu Kangyo muttered. Kyo Feng came to see her before and facilitated the cooperation. Once the matter was exposed, Kyo Feng could completely say that it was her idea. Because in this matter, Kyo Feng benefited, and she also benefited. At that time, she would have to face the accountability of the Lai family. If she faced the Lai family, she would definitely have no way to survive. If she wanted to survive, she might have to rely on Kyo Feng or the Beggars sect. What a deep trick. But I also hope that you Beggars sect has strength, otherwise, we will all be buried with Li Hu and Liao. Liu Kangyo said hatefully in her heart. You continue to collect information about the Beggars sect. With such a large-scale move, a lot of information will definitely be exposed. I want to understand their strength. Liu Kangyo said. Yes. The green-robed woman quickly withdrew. Liu Kangyo was left alone in deep thought. Not only her, but now all the major forces in the entire county government are watching this matter in silence. Liao and Lihu are not dead, so they might move. However, Liao and Lihu died in the hands of the Beggars sect. If they took action, it would be the same as seeking death, so they stayed still. However, they also sent out many spies to investigate the information of the Beggars sect and pay attention to their movements. The next day, the county city returned to peace, and there was an endless stream of pedestrians on the streets, as if they were not affected by the Lai family last night. Of course, the news of restaurants and tea houses in the streets and alleys was discussed fiercely. Of course, there are some beggars on the streets now, and these people are not disciples of the Beggars sect, but ordinary beggars. The revenge of the Lai family will definitely come quickly. The disciples of the Beggars sect have basically evacuated. In the hall of the county governor's mansion, many leaders of forces came to visit. Liao was in trouble, and now only the county governor Liu Kangyo was in charge, so they could only find Liu Kangyo to discuss countermeasures. Banquet hall. Liu Kangyo sat on the bench, looking at the dozen people below, without saying a word. There were dozens of people sitting below, but no one dared to look down on Liu Kangyo. They all knew about Liu Kangyo's martial arts and methods. There would be no good consequences if they offended this woman. Liu County Magistrate, Master Liao and Lord Lihu died in Chen County. We should think of a way. One of the middle-aged men in yellow robes spoke up. In Chen County, the Wu Gang was the power that controlled the waterways of Chen County. The one wearing the yellow robe was its leader, Ko Xiao, who had been attached to Liao before. Boss Ko, you said to think of a way. I don't know what you have. The people of the Beggar Gang haven't gone far yet. You can lead your Wu Gang to chase them. I think this is a good idea. Liu Kangyo looked at Ko Xiao and said in a deep voice. Liu County Magistrate, you are the head of our county city. Now the Beggar Gang is killing and robbing things in our county city. The county government should take care of it. We can help from the side. Another man in a purple and gold robe, tall and lion-like, with a resolute face, spoke up. Situ Xiang, the leader of the Lion Gang, and Ko Xiao, the leader of the Black Gang, were both subordinates of Liao. When Liao came to Chen County, they joined Liao. Now that Liao is dead, they are eager to show off, but the Beggar Gang was able to kill Liao and Lihu, which shows that they are too strong, so they dare not take action at all. So the two of them wanted to force Liu Kangyo to take action. Don't you want to send someone to take action, Liu County Governor? Don't you have a relationship with the Beggar Gang? Why are you protecting the people of the Beggar Gang? Seeing that Liu Kangyo didn't say anything, Situ Xiang spoke again. At this time, the atmosphere in the room became depressing. Some people looked at Situ Xiang and Ko Xiao who spoke. They looked at each other, but didn't say anything. Situ Xiang, say what you just said again. Liu Kangyo's beautiful eyes revealed a cold light, looking at Situ Xiang who spoke. There was an indescribable majesty in her tone, as if she wanted to see through Situ Xiang's heart. Seeing this, Situ Xiang's face was a little ugly, but at this stage, he was in a dilemma. Liu County Magistrate, isn't it? If you don't send people, to chase the beggar's sect disciples. I have reason to believe that you have a relationship with the beggar's sect. Otherwise, County Magistrate, you should take people to chase the beggar's sect now. Situ Xiang said loudly. How dare you? The female attendant next to Liu Kangyo said sternly. You are just a maid, you have no right to speak here. Situ Xiang snorted coldly. He had already said Liu Kangyo, but he still cared about a maid. Looking for death. Suddenly, the figure of Liu Kangyo sitting on the bench shot out like a ghost. At the same time, a burst of sword light came out from the hands of the violent Liu Kangyo, sweeping towards Situ Xiang with unparalleled momentum. This attack was a sudden attack by human figures and a sky full of sword light. Liu Kangyo, you dare! Situ Xiang roared. He grabbed the long knife on the table next to him. At the moment, when the sword light swept across his face, the violent blade light in his hand instantly tore through the air, forming a violent storm that enveloped the sword light. Clang 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 clang. In the next moment, sparks flew everywhere, and the sword lights and shadows intersected, causing the others to step aside. They didn't expect to fight, as soon as they said they would. After the sparks flew, the two figures staggered. Liu Kangyo stood opposite Situ Xiang with a long sword in hand. Bitch, I respect you. I call you the county governor. Who do you think you are? Situ Xiang said coldly. Liu Kangyo didn't say anything. Suddenly, she whistled fiercely, stepped forward, and the thunder-like sword light shot out again, exploding like thunder, pointing to Situ Xiang's vital points. Situ Xiang was not to be outdone. The long sword in his hand suddenly rose up and collided with the opponent's sword light. The air exploded, and some gravel shot out where they fought. Liu Kangyo, your strength is just so-so. If Master Liu hadn't wanted to deal with you, you would have been a good thing to me. I would have taught you what a woman is. Situ Xiang laughed as he drew his sword. When this loud laughter came out, Liu Kangyo's face was filled with anger and murderous intent. The sword light suddenly disappeared. Then a flash of red light was seen, passing through Situ Xiang's throat. You want to die so much, I'll fulfill your wish. Liu Kangyo's cold voice rang out in the hall. Plop after the sound fell, Situ Xiang's body fell directly to the ground. There were several scarlet embroidery needles in his throat. One step to see blood, a needle in the sleeve. Seeing this, the people in the room couldn't help but take a deep breath. Drag him down, so as not to dirty the floor. Liu Kangyo returned to the chair and said sternly. Outside the hall, two people appeared and quickly dragged Situ Xiang's body out. The hall became silent. At this time, a man in a green robe said, Sir, the Wu gang has many people and can really deal with the beggar gang. The beggar gang, which the Lai family couldn't stop. Whoever goes to fight it will die. Now that Situ Xiang is dead, it can only be the Wu gang. Qin Taiyuan, you. Ko Xiao didn't expect that his words would bring trouble to himself. Sir, since gang leader Ko is willing to send out his men to chase the beggar gang, I think we should let gang leader Ko chase them immediately. Otherwise, the beggar gang will run away. One person said immediately. I'd rather die than my friends. If we want to give the Lai family some explanation, we can only use other people's lives. Yes, we think so too. Others also echoed. Chapter 454, Yan Wang's Hey, Evil Alliance, Bei Wuji. Since everyone agrees, then each family will give some people to Boss Ko, and Boss Ko will lead the people out of the city to chase the beggars gang. Liu Kangyo waved her hand and said, My lord, that's not what I meant. Ko Xiao didn't expect it to be like this. His expression changed, and he said immediately, Boss Ko, Master Liu came to Chang County and is closest to your Wu gang and Xiangxi gang. Situ Xiang has gone to accompany Master Liu. Do you also want to accompany Master Liu immediately? Liu Kangyo's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Seeing this, Ko Xiao was stunned and frightened. You bitch, you are asking me to die. Ko Xiao cursed in his heart, but he could only say, My lord, I will lead people to chase the beggars gang. You two will accompany Boss Ko. Liu Kangyo said to the two maids beside him. Seeing this, Ko Xiao's expression was gloomy. He originally wanted to pretend, but Liu Kangyo sent someone to follow him, so it might be difficult to pretend. At this time, outside the city, a figure wearing a bamboo hat was drinking tea in a tea house outside the city. Under the bamboo hat, this person was wearing a silver mask. A figure quickly came to the front of the person wearing the bamboo hat. The person wearing the bamboo hat slowly stood up and walked out of the tea house. One place. What's the situation in the city? The person wearing the bamboo hat said in a low voice, and the figure who followed him said, report to the adults. Something happened to the Lai family. Lai Hu and Liao of the Lai family were killed by the beggar gang. The resources of the Lai family in Chang County were moved away. What? Hearing this news, the person wearing the bamboo hat was surprised. Beggar gang, what kind of force is this? After being surprised, the person wearing the bamboo hat asked in a deep voice. A force that has just risen in Chang County, a gang composed of beggars. Rumor has it that there are elders with 1 to 9 bags. Last night, it was the leader of the beggars gang, one 9-bag elder, and one 8-bag elder who attacked the Lai family. The 9-bag elder is a master of the 9 difficulties of heaven and man, and the 2 8-bag elders are at the 8 difficulties of heaven and man. The visitor said quickly, this beggars gang is so powerful. Is there no one else in the Lai family? The man in the bamboo hat said in a deep voice. The one who contacted us temporarily is the secret guard left by Li Hu, who told us that the second elder of the Lai family will come and contact us. Let me kill Bei Wuji first and get what he has in his hands. The second elder of the Lai family, Lai Fengmian, will come in person. It seems that the Lai family is determined to get what Bei Wuji has in his hands. Tell them that we won't take action until we get half of the things. The man in the bamboo hat said coldly. Yes. The visitor left quickly. The man in the bamboo hat also went to the city. In the county magistrate's mansion, Liu Kangyo arranged for Koziao to leave and then asked everyone to leave and go to the backyard. In the backyard, Kyo Feng was drinking heavily. Boss Kyo, you are so cool. After killing Li Hu and Liao, you didn't even leave the county mansion. Aren't you afraid that the people from the Lai family will deal with you? I wonder what Miss Liu thinks about Li Hu coming to Chang County? Kyo Feng said, after taking a sip of wine. Could it be that Li Hu came to Chang County not to deal with you beggars sect, but for other purposes? Hearing Kyo Feng's words, Liu Kangyo frowned slightly and said, Kyo Feng would not say this for no reason. Saying this means that Li Hu should have other purposes. Taishang Wuji sect, Bei Wuji, I think Miss Liu should know. Kyo Feng said. Bei Wuji, it is said that he has a broken scroll. Could it be that Li Hu came for that broken scroll? Liu Kangyo's beautiful eyes moved slightly and said, that is just a broken scroll. What's the point of the Lai family fighting for it? Even if it is said that the scroll records the method of entering the heavenly gate, what's the use of a broken scroll? For so many years, there are many broken scrolls in the world, but for hundreds of years, no one has been able to enter the heavenly gate. From the words, it can be seen that Liu Kangyo has no idea about the scroll. This scroll should be extraordinary, otherwise, the Lai family would not let Li Hu ask the people of Yanwang village to take action. The people of Yanwang village should have arrived in Chang County. I would like to ask Miss Liu to help us find the people of Yanwang village. Kyo Feng said. What? You said that the people of Yanwang village came to my Chang County. Do you know who came? Liu Kangyo looked nervous. The people of Yanwang village like to kill and like to use people's blood to enhance their strength. If any one of the 3 Yama kings came, they in Chang County could not stop it. Liu Kangyo had to be nervous. Now the life and death of the Lai family was at stake. The people of Yanwang's Hay would not return empty-handed if they could not find the person to trade with. I don't know who it is, so I want Miss Liu to find the person from Yanwang's Hay. We are now in the same boat. I think Miss Liu should be able to find the person who came from Yanwang's Hay as soon as possible. Kyo Feng said. Boss Kyo, I'm not in the same boat with your beggars sect. You beggars sect is your beggars sect, and I'm me. If we hadn't killed Li Hu and Liao, you would probably have a hard time surviving. I heard that they wanted to get rid of you. Kyo Feng said softly. You mean, Liao wants to kill me? Do they have the guts? I come from Zishan Palace. We in Zishan Palace are loyal to the 7th prince. If the Lai family attacks us, how will they explain to the 7th prince? Liu Kangyo said in a deep voice. You died at the hands of the king of Hell village. Do you need any other explanation? Besides, can the Purple Shirt Palace be compared with the Lai family? Sometimes, people need to think about themselves. To be honest, the Lai family is not something that we, the beggars sect, really take seriously. When Kyo Feng spoke, he exuded a sense of confidence. He came here mainly to subdue Liu Kangyo. Liu Kangyo was the 3rd disciple of the first master of the Purple Shirt Palace, and she had a special status in the Purple Shirt Palace. The Purple Shirt Palace was also a first-class force in the Jiangnan region. Moreover, it also had a considerable status in several cities, so it was a good development for the beggars sect to have such an ally. Master Kyo, you want to subdue me? At this time, Liu Kangyo's figure came to Kyo Feng like a ghost, and her slender jade fingers appeared at Kyo Feng's neck. Her red lips were close to Kyo Feng's ear, and she said softly, "It's not about subjugation, it's about cooperation, and it's also a guarantee for Miss Liu." Kyo Feng said, while drinking without changing his expression. "Promise, can't the Purple Shirt Palace give me a promise? The Purple Shirt Palace is okay in the Jiangnan area, but it is not good in the entire Great Zhao dynasty. By the way, Liu stockpiled herbs this time. He joined hands with the Evil Alliance. I think if the Evil Alliance knew that I, Kyo Feng, was here, do you think your Purple Shirt Palace could stop the people of the Evil Alliance?" When Kyo Feng's voice fell, Liu Kangyo, who was beside him, changed his expression and appeared in front of Kyo Feng. "You mean the people of the Evil Alliance are in my Chang County? What do they want to do?" Liu Kangyo is the county governor of Chang County. The Evil Alliance will not simply appear here. If something happens, she, the county governor, will be the first to bear the brunt. The plague was created. The plague that has appeared in the cities downstream of Chang County was caused by the Evil Alliance. If the situation is not controlled, the plague will spread throughout Chang County. At that time, there may be riots in Chang County. We, the beggars gang, robbed those herbs, which is actually a favor to you, the county governor. Kyo Feng said. Listening to Kyo Feng's words, Liu Kangyo said in a deep voice, "Even if there are herbs, I'm afraid it won't be able to suppress the development of the plague. The Evil Alliance will not let you control the plague." Liu Kangyo said. "We, the beggars gang, are only doing what we can. We can save as many as we can. The rest is not our business. It's your business as the county governor of Chang County." Kyo Feng looked at Liu Kangyo and said, "With my strength, I can't deal with either Yan Wang's or the Evil Alliance. Boss Kyo, we are allies. I think you should help me." Liu Kangyo looked at Kyo Feng. Now the only one who can help her is Kyo Feng. I think County Magistrate Liu can deal with Ko Xiao, the gang member who left the city. Kyo Feng wanted Liu Kangyo to pay more. As long as he leaves the city, he will die. Liu Kangyo nodded. Ko Xiao was the scapegoat who was pushed out, and it was also an explanation to the Lai family. How at this time, a figure appeared in the courtyard. "Boss, County Magistrate Liu." The person who came was Jinyuan Ling of the beggar gang. He quickly came to Kyo Feng's ear. He whispered, "Yan Wang of Yan Wang village has contacted the people of Evil Alliance." Kyo Feng murmured, "County Magistrate Liu, I'm going to meet the people of Evil Alliance and Yan Wang village. We'll meet again next time." Kyo Feng stood up. But when Kyo Feng stood up, Liu Kangyo also stood up. "I'll go with you to see." Kyo Feng thought for a moment and nodded, and the three of them left the county magistrate's mansion. But when they came out, the three of them were wearing bamboo hats. Passing through the streets filled with people, three figures stopped outside a manor. "Boss, the people from the Evil Alliance and the King of Hell are all inside," Jinyuan Ling said. "You stay outside, I'll go in to meet the people from the Evil Alliance and the King of Hell." "County Magistrate Liu, you really have to go in with me." Kyo Feng looked at Liu Kangyo and said, "Since I'm here, I have to go in and take a look. Otherwise, how can I know that you are right, Boss Kyo?" Liu Kangyo looked at Kyo Feng and said, "Whoosh." Kyo Feng jumped into the manor. The manor was unusually quiet, with no servants. In the courtyard hall, a woman in a black dress was standing in the hall. Opposite her was a man wearing a Silver King of Hell mask. Silver King of Hell, your deal with the Life family is over. How about making a deal with us, the Evil Alliance? The woman in the black dress looked at the Silver King of Hell and said, we don't have the same mentality as Liao when doing business with you, Evil Alliance. We don't want to do the same thing as you do when hoarding herbs. We in Yanwang village like cash. Yin Yanwang said coldly. Of course it's cash. Now the beggar gang has destroyed Liu and Liao and robbed the Life family's resources in the county city. But Liao is just occupying some businesses in Chang County City. The county city is so big, there are still many banks, inns, restaurants, etc. You, Yanwang village, can completely destroy the forces in the county city at this time, rob their resources, and then put the blame on the beggar gang. You said such a good thing, wouldn't you do it in Yanwang village? The woman in black skirt looked at Yin Yanwang and said, this beggar sect is not simple. You want us to offend the beggars sect? You have a good plan. A bunch of beggars. Are you afraid of the beggars sect? What's more, we, Evil Alliance, will help you to cover up the traces, and no one will know that you did it. This is the territory of the Life family. You have cooperated with the Life family, and the Life family will also push all the crimes to the beggars sect. This is a good thing for you, the beggars sect. Why not do it? The woman in black skirt continued to seduce. Is there any benefit for you, Evil Alliance? Death and chaos are good for us, Evil Alliance. The woman in black skirt said. Originally, they cooperated with Liao to hoard herbs and expand the plague, but now the herbs have been obtained by the beggars sect. Even if there is a plague, many people will die, but they will be controlled accordingly and will not get the result they want. So the woman in black skirt found the people in the beggars sect. If that's the case, of course I will do it. But the Life family wants us to rob Bei Wuji of his things, so we have to do it first. After all, we took the deposit from the Life family. Although Liu is dead, the Life family is still there. Yin Yanwang said, Bei Wuji has entered the city. Lord Yin Yanwang can take action tonight, but Bei Wuji is the eldest disciple of the Supreme Wuji sect. His strength is extraordinary. Lord Yin Yanwang still has to be careful, said the woman in the black skirt. Bei Wuji has entered the city. You Evil Alliance are really capable. Yin Yanwang nodded. They have been looking for Bei Wuji in Yanwang village, but they haven't found him. Chapter 455, Decisive Killing. Cao Feng takes action again. Suddenly, the Silver King of Hell seemed to have noticed something, and frowned slightly. He looked at the woman in the black dress and said, did you, Evil Alliance, invite other people to come? When he finished speaking, the woman in the black dress changed her expression and said sternly, who are you? Get out. After she said that, a white light shot towards her. The woman in the black dress changed her expression, turned her body, and dodged the white light. The white light hit the ground, making a snapping sound, and it was just a piece of gravel. Seeing that it was just a piece of gravel, the woman in the black dress changed her expression and looked fiercely at the direction where the white light appeared. Two figures fell down. It was Cao Feng and Liu Qingyao wearing a bamboo hat. It was Liu Qingyao who had just thrown the stone. You are hiding your head and showing your tail. You are not welcome here. The woman in the black dress still spoke fiercely. She did not care about the strength of Cao Feng and Liu Qingyao. As for the sitting Silver King of Hell, he did not move, but just looked at Cao Feng who appeared with Liu Qingyao. The aura of Cao Feng gave him a vague pressure. He had to pay attention to him. Many times, people who are too arrogant will not live too long. Liu Qingyao looked at the woman in black dress and said, really? Then you should also have such strength, the woman in black dress said coldly. Seeing this, Liu Qingyao, who was beside Cao Feng, wanted to move, but at this time, Yin Yanwang said, you two came here, it should be something. I wonder what you want to do. The voice was flat, but the eyes were as sharp as a knife, staring at Cao Feng. Liu Qingyao was not worthy of his attention. He had to pay attention to Cao Feng. What? Just now, you two seemed to be discussing our beggars sect. Cao Feng said. Originally, he came to investigate this time, and did not think of showing up. thinking of using Yin Yang Wang to obtain the Taoist scroll on Bei Wuji's body. But just now, when the black-skirted woman in Evil Alliance said that Yin Yang Wang should destroy the forces in the county city and put the blame on the beggars sect, he didn't want such a thing to happen. The black-skirted woman of Evil Alliance must die. Well, it seems that you are from the beggars sect. I wonder who you are. Hearing Cao Feng's words, Yin Yang Wang slowly stood up and looked at Cao Feng. I'm Cao Feng from the beggars sect. You want to frame my beggars sect? I wonder if you have the ability to do that. Cao Feng took off his bamboo hat and looked at the woman in black dress coldly. The moment he spoke, his body suddenly moved, and then with a step and trajectory that violated common sense, he instantly appeared in front of the woman in black dress. His palm stretched out, like an eagle grabbing a chick, and grabbed the other's head. Neither Yin Yang Wang nor the woman in black dress expected Cao Feng to suddenly attack. Liu Kangyo had thrown a stone earlier, causing the distance between the woman in black dress and Yin Yang Wang to stagger. Seeing this, the woman in black dress focused her eyes, grabbed her waist, and with a soft sword in her hand, she instantly chopped towards Cao Feng's palm. The rain of swords was like a violent storm, extremely fast. But Cao Feng's palm seemed to know the trajectory of her sword light. It instantly penetrated the sword light and appeared in front of the opponent, grabbing the opponent's face with its palm. Just twist it. Crack. The black-dressed woman's head was twisted off, and her sword palm suddenly lost its strength, and the long sword in her hand fell to the ground. So cruel. Liu Kangyo, who did not make a move from a distance, was shocked when she saw Cao Feng's move. Cao Feng had shown a kind of heroism in front of her before, but now he showed an absolute decisiveness in killing. The black-dressed woman wanted to frame their beggars sect and endanger the beggars sect. Cao Feng made a move without any mercy. Such a person cannot be offended. Liu Kangyo thought to herself. Of course, she also understood at this moment that Cao Feng might have done this to kill her. Her eyes could not help but look at the Silver King of Hell. The black-dressed woman was not the focus. The focus was the Silver King of Hell. At this time, she saw a ferocious look in the eyes of the masked Silver King of Hell. Cao Feng, since you killed my partner in front of me, and I haven't settled the score with you for the life families matter before, now you kill someone in front of me, it seems that you don't take our Yan Wang village seriously at all. The voice of the Silver Yan Wang was gloomy. His tone was full of murderous intent and cruelty that could not be concealed. While speaking, a dark red breath burst out from the body of the Silver Yan Wang, and the strong breath filled the whole courtyard. The strong breath swept out from him and wrapped his body, and an invisible pressure filled the whole courtyard. Liu Kangyo, who was weaker in strength, felt that she had difficulty breathing. Her body moved towards the corner of the wall to avoid the suppression of this breath. Under this pressure, the green leaves that had just appeared in the trees in the courtyard fell to the ground and fluttered. The ninth difficulty of heaven and man. Liu Kangyo, who retreated, felt a powerful breath on the other party and her face changed. Yin Yang Wang is the second best fighter in Yan Wang village, second only to Jin Yan Wang in strength. It is said that he is about to enter the realm of Danshan, turning into sea in the 9th level of heavenly beings. With such strength, I wonder if Cao Feng can stop him. Liu Kangyo thought to herself. Her eyes were unusually solemn. Although Li who died in Cao Feng's hands, it was all rumors. They did not see Cao Feng kill Li Hu alone. It is possible that Li Hu was surrounded and killed by the beggars gang. After all, it was said that when the beggars gang appeared in Liao's mansion, they dispatched 2 of the 9th level of heavenly beings and 2 of the 8th level of heavenly beings. With such strength, it is possible to surround and kill Li Hu. Her eyes could not help but look at Cao Feng. Cao Feng looked calm at this moment. I originally wanted to make a deal with you, but now it seems that I can only send you on your way. Cao Feng looked at Yin Yan Wang and said coldly. Send me 1 level. Do you think I'm that waste of Li Hu? Yin Yan Wang's eyes became colder when he heard this. While speaking, he suddenly stepped out. Boom. Dark red energy burst out from his body like a flame, and he leaped into the air, attacking Cao Feng like an eagle, his eyes flashing coldly, and his fist suddenly blasted out. Flame hammer. The thick dark red energy fell from his fist like a flaming cannonball. like a huge iron hammer. It carried a powerful force and wanted to kill Kao Feng with one hammer. Looking at the flaming hammer falling towards him, Kao Feng's face was calm and his body did not dodge at all. He raised his palm and slapped it out, and the golden energy permeated in his palm. Boom. The two forces collided with each other, and Kao Feng's body did not move. But the figure of the Silver King of Hell who attacked was shocked and retreated several steps before he stabilized his body. He looked at Kao Feng with horror. When masters fight, one blow can tell whether you are the opponent of the other party. He knew that he was not Kao Feng's opponent, so he moved his feet and wanted to leave. But at this moment, Kao Feng moved and slapped out with one palm. The powerful energy formed a golden dragon shadow, sweeping towards him. Chapter 456, Impersonating the Silver King of Hell and obtaining the scroll. Boom boom boom. Seeing this, the Silver King of Hell swung his fists and attacked continuously. A stream of ki burst out from his fists to resist the attacking dragon shadow. And when attacking, his body seemed to be shaken by a huge force and kept retreating behind him. I'm not my opponent. I must find a way to escape. The Silver King of Hell thought to himself. The King of Hell village is notorious in Jiangnan. The Silver King of Hell has lived for so long and knows what is impossible. At this time, he can only escape. Puff. At the moment of blocking Kao Feng's attack, he spit out a mouthful of blood, and his body suddenly turned and hit the wall in front of him, knocking the wall open. Then his body did not stop at all and fled to the outside of the house. Want to leave? Do you think you can leave? Seeing this, Kao Feng snorted coldly and his body suddenly moved, appearing in front of the other party in the blink of an eye. He actually took action. How could he let the Silver King of Hell leave here? What's more, he also wanted the mask on the Silver King of Hell's face. He wanted to pretend to be the Silver King of Hell and go to Beiwuji to snatch the scroll. Seeing Kao Feng appear in front of him, the Silver King of Hell's face changed and he suddenly tapped his fingers in front of him a few times. The energy in his body suddenly surged and then he slapped Kao Feng with one palm. The terrifying energy burst out from his palm, forming a red palm print. The air made a hissing sound under this palm, and under the sound, the heat wave was visible going towards Kao Feng. Kao Feng snorted coldly and slapped his hands. His palms penetrated the flames and collided with the opponent's palm print. Bang! The strong energy directly shocked the Silver King of Hell and sent him flying back. The gap in strength was too big, and Kao Feng's move was a bit of a sledgehammer. The mask on the face of the Silver King of Hell fell off, revealing a sinister face. Liu Kangao, who was standing by, saw the face of the Silver King of Hell and was shocked. Iron-faced and cross-hooked Dujiling. I didn't expect you to be the Silver King of Hell village. The Silver King of Hell fell to the ground and spit out a mouthful of blood, but he still had a breath. He took out a dark red pill from his arms and swallowed it directly into his mouth. The meridians on his body that were previously broken by Kao Feng were instantly connected by a force. At this time, the Silver King of Hell raised his hand and grabbed the long sword that the black-skirted woman had dropped on the ground. Then the Silver King of Hell shot towards Kao Feng in an instant. The long sword in his hand was like a silver light, passing through the air and appeared in front of Kao Feng. And in an instant, dozens of sword shadows appeared, and it was difficult to distinguish between the real and the fake. The speed was extremely fast, attacking the key points on Kao Feng's body. Kao Feng raised his palm, and the key force shot out violently, covering all the sword light. Bang bang bang. The long sword collided with the key force, and the sword light was shattered. At this time, the Silver King of Hell had already appeared in front of Kao Feng. If you want me to die, you have to die too. The long sword fell off, and his palm became a claw. He grabbed towards Kao Feng's head, but when his palm fell, he grabbed her as a dual shadow. The gap between you and me is too big. Kao Feng appeared behind him, raised his hand and slapped it, and his palm landed on the other's back. Bang! The handprint fell, and the energy rushed into the other's body, shattering his heart veins. Plop! The body of the Silver Hades fell on the ground. Looking at the body of the Silver Hades falling on the ground, Liu Kangao, who was watching the battle, changed her expression. Judging from the traces of Kao Feng's attack, Kao Feng's strength might have reached the level of Dunshan Huahei. Otherwise, it would not be so easy to kill the Silverhaids. I didn't expect Kao Feng's strength to be so strong. Cooperating with the beggars sect may be a good way out. Liu Kangyo thought in her heart. Of course, she also knew why the beggars sect dared to take action against the Lai family. In the Jiangnan area, Danshan Huahei is a figure who can occupy one side and is only one step away from the overlord level. Only one of their ancestors in the purple shirt palace has reached this realm. At this time, Jin Yuanling also rushed in from outside. This is a base of the Evil Alliance. There should be some important documents. You can check it out and find the important documents. I want to know what the Evil Alliance wants to do by creating the plague. When Kao Feng spoke, he raised his hand and sucked the mask of the Silver King of Hell in his hand. He put on his hat and turned to leave. Liu County Magistrate, Bei Wuji is in the county city. I miss you. Provide me with his information. I'm very interested in the scroll in his hand. Kao Feng looked at Liu Kangyo and said, don't worry, Kao Gang Boss, Bei Wuji is actually in the city. I will inform you of his whereabouts in 1 hour. Liu Kangyo said. Thank you very much, Liu County Magistrate. Then I will wait for the news from the County Magistrate. Kao Feng said. Liu Kangyo nodded and jumped out of the house. An hour later, a figure appeared in the courtyard. Boss Kao, Bei Wuji is in the Xianaiwan in the city, in the leftmost room on the 3rd floor. The visitor left quickly after saying this. 1 hour, just 1 hour. Liu Kangyo's speed is pretty good. Kao Feng put on the mask of the Silver King of Hell on his face, then put on a bamboo hat, walked out of the courtyard, and headed towards the Xianaiwan. At this time, inside the Xianaiwan, in a wing room, a young man in white was sitting cross-legged on the bed, with a stream of air rotating above his head, and a wave of fluctuations permeated his whole body. After a while, the young man in white opened his eyes. I still have no idea about the 8th level of the Supreme Wuji Gong. I hope I can meet the senior sister of the Zenwu Temple this time, and learn from her to help me find a chance. The young man in white murmured. While he was talking, he took out a scroll of Taoism from his arms. The scroll was a little broken, and some of the words on it were a little blurred, and it was still half cut. I don't know what's on this scroll. The young man in white glanced at the words on the scroll and said. He studied this scroll for a long time, and printed a copy, and sent it back to Taishang Wuji sect. However, the sect responded that they could not decipher it. They asked him to go to the capital, and give it to the sister of Zenwu Taoist Temple to take back to Zenwu Taoist Temple for a search. He put the remaining scroll back into his arms, and stood up from the bed. However, his expression suddenly changed, and he looked at the door. He raised his hand, and grabbed the long sword on the table not far away. Bang! The moment he grabbed the long sword, the door was shaken open. A figure appeared in front of him like a ghost. He was about to draw his sword, but the opponent's palm immediately blocked his movement. After a simple fight, he could not draw his sword at all. He immediately abandoned the sword and slapped out with his palm, but the palm he slapped out was directly pressed back by the opponent's palm. The opponent grabbed his palm in front of him, and the scroll he had put in his arms was grabbed by the opponent. Daojun. Seeing this, Bei Wuji immediately reached out to grab it, trying to take it back, but his palm didn't touch the other party at all, and the wind from his palm only lifted the black veil in front of the other party's hat. He saw a silver mask. Yan Wang's Hey, Silver Yan Wang. After he spoke, the other party's figure had already jumped out, and when he chased out, the other party's figure had disappeared. Chapter 457, Xiangang Breathing Technique, Paradise Palace, Passionate Fairy, Lingnan County Shanman. Although it is already spring, there is still a hint of chill. Su Chen, wearing a coat, stood on a tall building of Shanman. Master, Boss Kao sent a scroll. Yuan Suan, who was wearing brocade clothes, stood beside Su Chen and said, Kao Feng got a scroll back. Su Chen couldn't help but get interested. Boss Kao snatched a scroll from Bei Wuji of Taishang Wujiman. Yuan Suan told him what happened in Shang County. I didn't expect Boss Kao to adapt to the local customs. Su Chen couldn't help but say. Boss Kao was a great hero who cared about the country and the people in Xianlang Babu. I didn't expect that he would also change after coming to this world. But this world is like this. Warriors rule the world and thus control the world. Master, Princess King Chen from the capital has sent a letter and wants you to go to the capital to help her. According to the information sent back by Betrayals, Miran King Chen is in a very bad situation now. I guess she wants Master to help her turn this predicament around. Yuan Suan said. The capital, it's not the time for me to go yet. Su Chen shook his head. His layout in the capital is still weak, and going to the capital will not benefit him. It will also make him fall into the struggle for power among the princes. Host subordinates Cui Woohoo and Wudu Tongzi assisted Liu Liking in taking down the grudge gate and were awarded with one orange lottery card. At this time, Su Chen received a reminder of the reward and his face was slightly stunned. The grudge gate was taken down. Su Chen was a little surprised, but this news was a system prompt and it couldn't be wrong. These Cui Woohoo and Wudu Tongzi took rule. They just killed the son of King Liu some time ago, and now they have taken down the grudge gate. They are really talented. Su Chen thought to himself. You reply to Miran King Chen and tell him that I can't go to the capital for the time being. Su Chen said to Yuan Suan. While saying this, he also picked up the Taoist scroll sent back by Kao Feng. Opening the Taoist scroll, it was a broken Taoist scroll with only some words. Found the fragment of the Taoist practice, Shangang breathing method, and rewarded 2 orange lottery cards. The fragment of the Taoist practice, Shangang breathing method? Su Chen frowned slightly. He didn't expect that this scroll was actually a breathing method of Taoism. Regarding the breathing method of Taoism, some of the classics that Su Chen had read before had recorded that it was a breathing method that could help people enter the heavenly gate. Because the system included it, he soon understood that this Shangang breathing method, a method for cultivating the soul, was a bit broken and useless. But it's not bad to be able to trigger the reward. Su Chen thought to himself. Together with Cui Woohoo, he got 3 orange lottery cards today, plus some ancient books and some rewards that he had brought back from the Red Sandalwood Palace in Xianshan sect before. Su Chen now has a total of 7 orange lottery cards. After Su Chen cleaned the Red Sandalwood Palace last time, Mu Qingxu took charge of the Red Sandalwood Palace and began to move the Red Sandalwood Palace to Jiangnan. The resources of the Red Sand Palace had been transferred away, so there was no point in staying outside the Great Wall. Moreover, Mu Qingxu also wanted to go to Jiangnan to make a living. The capital and Jiangnan were both places where Su Chen had laid out his plans, so Su Chen did not stop Mu Qingxu from going there. Although Mu Qingxu was his woman, to be honest, they were more of a master-servant relationship, and Su Chen controlled Mu Qingxu's life and death. At this time, outside the door, Zhu Zhengwo appeared. Master, one of the 4 great ladies of Jile Palace, Amorous Fairy, Zhao Xiaodi appeared in the county city of Longbei County. She is also meeting with the new second leader of Chiangsha League, Zhao Bie. Zhu Zhengwo said. Well, Chiangsha League and Jile Palace have joined forces? Hearing this, Su Chen couldn't help but say. Previously, Qiukd, one of the 4 great ladies of Jile Palace, was killed by Beichalfi, and her power was devoured, helping Beichalfi. But the people of Xianaya Pavilion of Beichalfi have little to do with them. There is no reason for Jile Palace to join hands with Chiangsha League to deal with King Long Hui. But now they are gathering with the second leader of Chiangsha League in Longbei County, so they must be plotting against them. How strong is the new second leader of Chiangsha League? Su Chen had never heard of Zhao Bie before. Master, this Zhao Bie appeared very suddenly. It seems that there was no such person in Chiangsha League before, but after Leng Xianxi's death, he appeared directly as the second leader. I haven't found any information about his specific strength and cultivation method. But this person dared to come to our northern 9 counties alone, so his strength should not be simple. Zhu Zhengwo said in a deep voice. It is said that the more skilled, the more courageous. This Zhao Bie dared to come to his northern 9 counties alone, which must be extremely confident in his own strength. Recently, King Long Hui helped Xianaya Pavilion to take down Xianshan sect, and its reputation has risen to a high level. He didn't believe that Zhao Bie didn't know the strength of King Long Hui. Keep an eye on him and see what connection he has with the Paradise Palace. My northern 9 counties have just calmed down, and the Paradise Palace has reappeared and has also connected with the World Alliance. It seems that they don't want my northern 9 counties to calm down. Yeah, Jiujian is recently in the northern county. Let him meet the amorous fairy of the Paradise Palace. Su Chen said coldly. I will inform Liu Sheng Yijian here. Zhu Zhengwo nodded. My lord, there is one more thing. Recently, the young leader of the Sea Shark Gang, the second strongest force in Lingjiang area, He Wuya, wants to visit you to discuss joining forces with us to deal with the World Alliance. Zhu Zhengwo said. Although the Sea Shark Gang is the second strongest force in Lingjiang area, there is a huge gap in strength between them and the World Alliance. Do they want to join forces with us to deal with the World Alliance? Su Chen frowned slightly. He Wuya has sent a visiting card. I haven't replied yet, but I have sent people to investigate He Wuya and found that He Wuya has some connection with the General Wang of the Southeast Sea. Zhu Zhengwo said. General Wang Duguiwei, we killed his people last time when we were in Qinglang Temple. Could it be that He Wuya is plotting against us for this person? Su Chen will not forget the person he killed in Qinglang Temple last time. Behind that person is the General Wang Duguiwei who occupies the Southeast Sea. Master, according to the information from Zimu Feng who returned to the capital, the General Wang Duguiwei may be transferred from the Southeast Sea to the capital, Zhu Zhengwo said. Duguiwei was transferred from the Southeast Sea to the capital. Who will replace him? Did Zimu Feng say anything? Su Chen frowned. Now the capital seems to be changing. General Wang Duguiwei is returning to the capital again. The capital is very lively. It feels like something big is happening. Chapter 458, the third most beautiful woman in the world, Zhuangzi. Let's make the capital city in chaos first. But our power in the capital city is still a little weak. Su Chen murmured. Yi and Ri Hao had recently returned from the capital city, and they had some information about the divine power obtained from the evil alliance. The divine power information was helpful to the masters of the Qinglang Club, who had entered the 9 difficulties of heaven and man. So now Su Chen's power in the capital city is very weak. I don't know if Bei Chaofei can hold on. Su Chen said softly. Bei Chaofei nowadays is more often doing things by pulling the skin of Xian'ai Pavilion. However, Bei Chaofei has recently taken advantage of the situation to do a lot of things, relying on one of the eldest prince's mentors, Taibao Nanjinlan, to stabilize his power. After all, many times, warriors do not just fight and kill each other. As a result, the 7th prince, who had some small grudges before, temporarily gave up dealing with Bei Chaofei. If there is time, we should find a way to move the Qinglang Club out of the 9 northern counties and into the capital city. Judging from the current situation there, business will definitely be booming. Su Chen thought to himself. Nowadays, the Qinglang society has a hard time doing business in the 9 northern counties. Relocation is a must. Doing business in their own territory, they earn too little. What's more, most of the power is now concentrated in the outer frontier in the 9 northern counties, and other places are too weak. It is difficult to achieve greater development. How is the investigation at the Xian'ai Pavilion station? Su Chen asked Yuan Suan on the side. The 5 poison boys haven't come back yet, and our progress there is a bit slow. Yuan Suan said. Cui Wuhu and the 5 poison boys have a good effect together, so let him do something in the fiefdom of King Liu first. Proceed slowly at the station. After all, we don't have many people now, and they are very scattered. Su Chen said. The East Pavilion of Xian'ai Pavilion is now stationed in Xianshan sect, and the people of Qinglang society are practicing in seclusion. In fact, there are not many people here, so there is no need to be so anxious about the station. Write back to that He Wuya and tell him I want to meet him. The Xiangsha League has sent people to his territory again, which means that the Xiangsha League has the intention to attack him, so it is better to destroy the Xiangsha League first. Moreover, he also wants to see what He Wuya is planning. Yes. Zhu Zhengwo left the room. After Zhu Zhengwo left, Yuan Suan seemed to have thought of something and said, "Master, someone from the Xiangsha 3 banks came to Lingnan County recently and talked to Xiaopang Zhu Bing, hoping to cooperate with Xiaopang on the bank." The Xiangsha 3 bank? You mean the Zhuangjia Bank, which is the first bank after the Royal Bank. How could it be interested in our bank? Su Chen asked. The first and second banks in the world are both controlled by the royal family. Of course, the royal family controls the banks, not just these two, but also others. Although the money gang has many banks, in front of the real money bank power, the money banks of the money gang cannot enter the top 10 of the Great Zhao dynasty. It is probably because we control the 9 northern counties that they contacted us. Yuan Suan said. Who is coming? Do you know? Su Chen asked. It is not clear yet. I guess Xiaopang will report soon. Yuan Suan said. When Yuan Suan finished speaking, a bird flew in from the window and landed on Yuan Suan's arm. Yuan Suan opened the letter on the bird's foot. Master, the one who came is Zhuangji, the young master of the Zhuang family. Xiaopang said that Zhuangji wants to see you. Master, this Zhuangji is the third most beautiful woman on the new Xiangsan list. Yuan Suan said. Hearing this, Su Chen was slightly stunned. He didn't expect there was a Xiangsan list. Which force created this Xiangsan list? Su Chen asked. There is the world's first red building, created by Beihua Building. This Beihua Building looks very ordinary, but it is very mysterious. If you want to enter the building, you need to have a red card issued by Beihua Building to enter it. It is rumored that there are very few red cards in the world. Yuan Suan said. No matter how mysterious it is, there will be a day when the veil will be unveiled. But since the third most beautiful woman in the world, Zhuangji, is here, I want to see how she can be called the third most beautiful woman, and how she can cooperate with us. Su Chen said. I will arrange it right away. Yuan Suan left the room. Only Su Chen was left in the room. He took a look at the 7 orange lottery cards in his mind. Click all of them. Get 1 Dao Scroll Knowledge card, 4 Shinran pills, and 1 Shinran Realm 5-year skill card. That's it. 7 cards, only 3 things, the other 4 are empty. This is too bad. Looking at the things he got, Su Chen was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect to get only so little. I don't know when I can upgrade the orange card. Su Chen sighed in his heart. 1 Dao Scroll Knowledge card. After Su Chen clicked it, it was about some Taoist texts, which means that he increased some knowledge. Shinran Realm 5-year skill card. Su Chen planned to have time to retreat for a period of time to absorb this skill. At this time, Lingnan County, in a large courtyard with 3 entrances and 3 exits. The little fat Zhu Bing's face was full of joy. I didn't expect that Zhu Bing would have the opportunity to see the third most beautiful woman in the world, but the beauty was wearing a veil and I couldn't see her true face. I was a little disappointed. But when the head teacher comes, she shouldn't wear a veil anymore. I will definitely be able to see her true face then. Fatty Zhu Bing thought happily. In the courtyard, backyard, inside the pavilion, a woman wearing a blue skirt, a hat and a veil was sitting at the stone table in the pavilion. It was the little fat who sent a message to Su Chen earlier, mentioning Zhuangji, the third most beautiful woman in the world. There were 2 maids beside her. These 2 maids were pretty and beautiful, holding a long sword in their hands. There was a sharp sword aura on their bodies. The 2 maids had extraordinary sword skills. Miss, even if Su Chen is the young leader of the Qinglang Society, you don't have to come to Lingnan County in person. Our Zhuang family cooperates with them, and they should be eager to cooperate with us. One of the maids said. Kinga, don't talk nonsense. We are now in someone's mansion. This time I came here, not only to cooperate with Master Su Chen on the money bank, but also to ask him to help our banker once. Miss, do you want to ask the Qinglang Society to help us deal with it? I'm afraid the Qinglang Society can't handle it over there. Another maid seemed to know what her lady was talking about. I have thought of other methods and contacted some people, but no one is willing to help. It is rumored that this Qinglang Society takes money to do things. They can help Xianaya Pavilion deal with Xianshan sect and should be able to help us deal with that force. so I came here in person, in the name of cooperation, to see if I can ask them to help. Everything will be discussed after we meet Master Su Chen of Shan sect. Zhuang's voice was very soft and pleasant, but her face was covered by the veil, so her appearance could not be seen clearly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459. Everyone in heaven and earth can be killed. Fatty Zhu Bing walked from the front yard to the backyard. Miss Zhu Bing is here, the maid beside her said when she saw Zhu Bing coming. It seems that there is a response from the other side, but I don't know if Su Chen will come to see us. Zhuang's face was a little worried under the veil. Fatty Zhu Bing came to the center of the pavilion. Master Zhu, I wonder if Master Su is free to see us? Zhuang said. Miss Zhuang, just now there was a message from the former chief steward that the master is ready to come to see you. Zhu Bing looked at Zhuang and replied. Although separated by a veil, it was impossible to resist the beauty of this woman. The blue robe revealed her skin, like mutton fat jade, and there was a faint fragrance wafting from her body, which was somewhat intoxicating. Is that so? Thank you, Master Zhu, Zhuang said. Don't thank me. If Miss Zhuang wants to thank me, I hope she can help my bank expand its business. General Manager Yuan has replied. I won't bother you here, but I guess General Manager Yuan will come to meet you first. General Manager Yuan is the headmaster's confidant. Miss Zhuang must not be afraid. After saying that, Zhu Bing retracted his gaze and left. Although the person is beautiful, she is not Zhu Bing's type, so he should not be greedy. General Manager Yuan, is it Yuan Suan? Zhuang said silently in her heart. Before coming, she learned about Su Chen, and knew that there was a person named Yuan Suan besides Su Chen. Miss, you are still very charming. Su Chen still can't escape your beauty, and is coming to see you, Miss, a maid said. Of course, Miss is the third most beautiful woman on the Xiangxin list. How many people in the world want to see Mrs. Beauty? Another maid said. Don't talk nonsense here. People who can be recommended by an organization like King Donghu will not be attracted by beauty. Compared with the confidence of the two maids, Zhuang said. Although she has a beautiful face, it is not her weapon. Once her face becomes a weapon, many things will be out of control. So sometimes, if you can impress the opponent without using your face, you should not use it. The next day, Su Chen and Yuan Suan appeared outside the residence of the fat man Zhu Bing. Zhu Bing seemed to know that Su Chen would arrive at this time, so he was waiting at the door. When he saw Su Chen, he took him into the courtyard. Boss, my courtyard is a large courtyard with 3 entrances and 3 exits. It is the old house of my Zhu family, Zhu Bing said as he walked. After a while, the 3 of them came to the banquet hall. Master Zhu, please follow me to invite Miss Zhuang to the banquet hall. Yuan Suan said. I arranged Miss Zhuang in the backyard. Please come, General Manager Yuan. Zhu Bing nodded and took Yuan Suan to the backyard. Inside the backyard, Zhuang's maid had already heard that Su Chen had come to the mansion. Miss Shan Sect Master Su, they have arrived at Zhu's mansion. I think they will invite us to the banquet hall in a while. Miss, it seems that we will get it done. The maid in green beside her said excitedly. Don't be happy too early. Zhuang shook her head and put on a bamboo hat and veil. Miss, you are still wearing a veil today. I don't think you need to wear it. The maid on the other side said. While they were talking, Zhu Bing and Yuan Suan appeared outside the courtyard. Miss Zhuang, the master, is here to my mansion. Please have a chat. Zhu Bing's voice sounded outside the courtyard. Zhuang pushed open the door and walked out of the room with 2 maids and saw Zhu Bing and Yuan Suan who had already entered the courtyard. Yuan Suan was wearing a blue shirt and a light white windbreaker. His body was tall and straight, and he had the aura of a child from a noble family, which made people couldn't help but admire him. Zhuang Zhuang's beautiful eyes moved slightly under the veil. I'm Yuan Suan. The headmaster is in the banquet hall. Miss Zhuang, please come in. Yuan Suan said. His eyes fell on Zhuang Zhuangji. Her face couldn't be seen clearly because of the veil, but from the appearance, she was extraordinary. Thank you, Chief Steward Yuan. Zhuang Zhuangji thanked and walked out of the courtyard. She walked with a very dignified posture, and every move exuded an aura. This Zhuang Zhuangji is not weak in martial arts. Yuan Suan thought to himself. The group soon arrived at the banquet hall. Su Chen was sitting on a bench in the banquet hall. When he saw Zhuang Zhuangji and the others enter the banquet hall, he stood up slightly. Hello, Headmaster Su. Zhuang Zhuangji entered the living room and looked at Su Chen. Su Chen's face was no less than Yuan Suan's, and he exuded a strong aura, and there was an unquestionable momentum that only those in power could have. Hello, Headmaster Su. Zhuang Zhuangji bowed slightly. Miss Zhuang, please sit down. Su Chen waved his hand. He looked at Zhuang Zhuangji. She was wearing a veil, so her face could not be seen clearly, so he did not watch. Master, there is a shop in the city that makes peach blossom cakes very well. I specially asked someone to prepare some. Master, you can try it. After saying that, he clapped his hands. Several maids in the mansion came in with a piece of cake and placed it on the table next to the two of them. Miss Zhuang, I wonder what you want to see me for this time. Su Chen said calmly. Zhuang Zhuangji had been paying attention to Su Chen's movements. Seeing that Su Chen only paid attention to himself, he went straight to the point and said, this time I came here mainly to ask for help from the Qinglang Society behind Master Su. I want to ask the masters of the Qinglang Society to kill someone. Zhuang Zhuangji said. Kill one person. I wonder who Miss Zhuang wants to kill. Su Chen said with a slight frown. The young master of the world's #1 manner, Huo Xingchen. Zhuang Zhuangji said the purpose of his visit this time. The Huo family in the Jiangbi area. Su Chen said calmly. Although his expression was calm, he was very surprised in his heart. Huo Xiansheng, the owner of Huojiazhuang, was one of the sworn brothers of the emperor of the Great Zhao dynasty. This is the #1 manor in the world, and it was also conferred by His Majesty the Great Zhao dynasty. Of course, it is not the emperor of the Great Zhao dynasty who can have such a name. The main reason is that the Huo family is very powerful. The Jiangbi area is close to the Jiangnan area. There are many overlords in the Jiangnan area, but there is only one overlord in the Jiangbi area, that is, the Huo family. It is powerful. It is not a force that ordinary people can deal with. Huo Xingchen is the leader of the younger generation of Huojiazhuang. It is rumored that he has the strength of the 4 difficulties of heaven and man at a young age. He is a well-deserved leader of the next generation of Huojiazhuang. I didn't expect that Zhuang Zhuangji came here to ask them, Qinglang Hu, to kill such a person. After Zhuang Zhuangji finished speaking, her eyes kept looking at Su Chen. She wanted to see what Su Chen was thinking from his expression. But Su Chen's face was calm, and it was impossible to see what he was thinking. Ms. Zhuang, the philosophy of our Qinglang Society is that we can kill anyone in heaven or on earth. As long as you can pay, everything is not a problem. I heard that you have 30 banks in Lingjiang area. If you hand over these 30 banks to my Shan sect, Huo Xingchen will definitely die. Su Chen said, after thinking for a moment. Chapter 460 30 banks, Zhao Bi's purpose. The atmosphere was quiet. Zhuang Zhuangji thought Su Chen would refuse. Unexpectedly, Su Chen said that he could kill anyone in the world. And as soon as he opened his mouth, he asked for 30 banks in the Lingjiang area. The hall fell into silence. Boss, this deal is really great. Fatty Zhu Bing stood next to Su Chen, shocked. In the Lingjiang area, the banker had 30 banks. This was not an ordinary small bank, but a big bank. Although Zhu Bing had 40 banks in the 9 northern counties, it was not as good as the other party's 10 banks. He looked at Zhuang Zhuangji. If she agreed to give these 30 banks to them, she would have more banks to operate. Now it depends on whether the other party agrees. This Su Chen didn't ask me the reason, but just wanted to make an offer. But 30 banks, this is not a decision she can make. Zhuang Zuangji thought to himself. I'm afraid that Master Su's 30 banks. Zhuang Zuangji wanted to bargain. The death of the young master of the world's #1 manor is worth this price. If Miss Zhuang is not willing to pay such a price, then we don't need to talk. Su Chen said softly. I need to discuss this with my father and give Master Su a reply in 3 days. Zhuang Zuangji said after hearing this. Okay, then I will wait for news from Miss Zhuang in 3 days. If you agree, before killing someone, you must pay a deposit of 1/3. Our Kinglan Club will make 3 shots. If you fail to kill the opponent in 3 times, the deposit will not be refunded. Su Chen continued. You still need a deposit of 1/3. If you fail to kill, the deposit will not be refunded. You are robbing money. The maiden green beside Zhuang Zuangji said. Kinga, you have no right to speak here. As soon as the maiden green finished speaking, Zhuang Zuangji immediately said in a cold voice, and said to Su Chen with a slight apology, Master Su, I will definitely give you an answer in 3 days. Okay. But Miss Zhuang, it's not a good habit for a servant to speak. Master ZHU, make arrangements for Miss Zhuang. Su Chen waved his hand, and had no intention of continuing the conversation with Zhuang Zuangji. Then I'm sorry to bother Master Su. Zhuang Zuangji stood up gently, saluted Su Chen, and then walked out of the banquet room with ZHU Bing. Investigate the grievances between the Zhuang family and the Huo family. I want to know why the Zhuang family wanted to kill Huo Xingchen, and by the way, find out the specific information about Huo Xingchen. This matter will be handed over to Lian Chengbi to complete. The Jiangbi area is adjacent to the Jiangnan area. Now in the Jiangnan area, Su Chen only has 2 people. One is Qiao Feng, and the other is Lian Chengbi. Qiao Feng must be very popular now, so let Lian Chengbi investigate. Yes. Yuan Suan nodded. It's a rare opportunity to go to the mountains next time. Let's go around this Lingnan prefecture. Su Chen said to Yuan Suan. At this time, in a large house in Longbei County, a woman in a lavender palace dress was sitting behind a long zither. Between her collarbones, she was crystal clear like dew, revealing a temptation. The woman had bright white teeth and some silver petals around her waist, which looked very pleasing to the eye. There was a hint of weakness on her face, but there was a sharpness in her eyes, which should have been somewhat conflicting with the weakness on her face, but it was very harmonious on this woman's face. She plucked her fingers, and elegant piano sounds kept coming out from her fingertips. The sound echoed, making people fascinated. Not far from her, sat a middle-aged man in a brocade robe. The middle-aged man tasted the wine in the glass, listened to the piano, and showed satisfaction on his face. Fairy Zhao, your piano sound is really memorable. When the piano sound fell, the middle-aged man in a brocade robe spoke. Alliance Master Zhao, you are really too kind. With your status as Alliance Master Zhao, you can hear my piano music at will. The purple-clothed woman slowly stood up and sat opposite the middle-aged man. The purple-clothed woman was the passionate fairy Zhao Xiaodi, one of the 4 women of Paradise Palace. As for the middle-aged man, he was the newly appointed second leader of Xiangshi League in Longbei June. The reason why Zhao Bi appeared here was very simple. The previous leader of Xiangshi League died here. He wanted to get back at Kinglan Club, so he appeared in Longbei June. Alliance Master Zhao, this is the territory of Kinglan Club. If you stay here, I'm afraid Kinglan Club may attack you. Zhao Xiaodi said softly. I just want them to come. I don't know who they will send. I really hope it's Li Chenzhao, the 3rd dragon head of Kinglan Club. Zhao Bi said softly. He dared to come here. Of course he knew the situation of Kinglan Club. The only one who made him feel threatened in the Kinglan Club was the 3rd dragon leader Li Chenzhao. He didn't care about the others, Yan Nanshan and Ingpeng, because his own strength had reached the realm of Danshan turning into the sea. This was one of the reasons why he dared to appear here so blatantly. Of course, the real purpose of his coming here was not to fight with the Kinglan Club, but to collect the wealth that Leng Xianqi and others had left in Longbei County and had not transported away. I really admire Alliance leader Zhao. Zhao Xiaodi said admiringly after hearing this. It is said that Li Chenzhao's strength is about to condense into a sea. Alliance leader Zhao should be careful. I will leave Longbei County tomorrow, Zhao Xiaodi said afterwards. That's a pity. I still want to accompany the fairy for a while longer. Hearing this, Zhao Bai shook his head. At this time, a man in grey rushed to Zhao Bai's side and whispered a few words in his ear. Fairy Zhao, I have something else to do here, so I'll take my leave first. We'll meet again later. I hope Fairy Zhao can go to Lingjiang area. When the time comes, I will give you a grand reception. Zhao Bai stood up and left with the grey-clothed man. After Zhao Bai left, a middle-aged woman in blue came over from a distance. Have you found out the real purpose of Zhao Bai coming to Longbei County? The middle-aged woman in blue said. Zhao Bai is very tight-lipped. I dare not ask more, for fear that he will be suspicious. But their purpose of coming here is definitely not to fight with the Qinglong Society, Zhao Xiaodi said in a deep voice. Then I'll send someone to follow him, said the middle-aged woman in blue. Zhao Bai's strength has reached the level of Dunshan turning into a sea. If we send someone here, it will definitely be discovered. It's better not to do it. Let's finish our own task first. Will the person we are waiting for arrive tomorrow? Zhao Xiaodi said. According to the news from there, the other party will arrive tomorrow. But why did the other party choose Longbei County? Zhao Xiaodi asked in confusion. I don't know about this either, but the deputy palace master asked us to meet him here, so we can only wait for him here, said the middle-aged woman in blue. After the meeting, give the things to him, and we will leave, said Zhao Xiaodi in a deep voice. After that, the two of them went to the inner courtyard. In the dark, next to the rockery, Liu Shengyijian, who was dressed in black, frowned slightly. I'm not a match for Zhao Bai's strength. It seems that I need to ask someone to come to kill Zhao Bai, but I still need to find out the purpose of his coming to Beijing first. Liu Shengyijian said and left in hiding. Chapter 461, Chiangsha Alliance, Tyrant Sword, Zhu Yiren. Outside the mansion, Zhao Bai took a look at Zhao Xiaodi's mansion and said to the person beside him, have you found out the purpose of Zhao Xiaodi and the others coming to Longbei County? Alliance leader, according to the situation analysis, they should be waiting for someone. I have arranged people to keep an eye on them. I believe we will soon know who they are waiting for and what they are doing. The person beside him said. The Paradise Palace has entered the mainland from overseas in recent years and has not dared to enter the capital, Jiangnan and other regions, but it has secretly gathered a lot of forces in other regions and should not be underestimated. Qiukd, who appeared in Mengcheng in the northwest region before, is one of the four great women, just like Zhao Xiaodi. She came to the northwest region, not just to absorb other people's skills, but for other purposes. However, Qiukd's death is a bit strange. It is estimated that someone has targeted her, and her skills have been sucked away. The task that was not completed before was completed by Zhao Xiaodi. You must keep a close eye on her. For my World Alliance to develop, cooperating with Paradise Palace is a good choice, Zhao Bai said in a deep voice. Let's go. First go and get the resources collected by Alliance leader Leng and his men back. But have you found out that people from the Green Dragon Society have appeared in Longbei County? Zhao Bai got on a large carriage while he was talking. No one from the Green Dragon Society has appeared yet. Alliance leader, do we still have to wait here? The person next to him said in the carriage. I think the people from the Green Dragon Society should have been in Longbei County, but we didn't find out that they would show up when we took action. Notify them to secretly move the things away first. Once we fight, those valuables may not be moved at that time, Zhao Bai said. I will arrange for someone to move the valuables immediately. The person next to him nodded, stretched out his hand, and a flying bird appeared in his palm, and then flew out of the carriage. Liu Shengyijian, who followed, looked at the flying bird leaving, frowned slightly, stopped and headed towards a place. At this time, in an inn in the city, Zhu Yiren was wiping the long sword in his hand. He and Liu Shengyijian came to Longbei County together. His swordsmanship is similar to that of Liu Shengyijian, and is much stronger than that of ordinary Shan Yunnan masters. Moreover, the two people's understanding of swordsmanship is different from that of ordinary people. When they entered Shinrenji Yunnan, they had already found their own way to turn Anshan into the sea. That is to make the swordsmanship of killing and killing the ultimate. This ultimate swordsmanship can help them reach the level of concentration in the sea. Creak. The door was opened, and Zhu Yiren did not move. He knew that it was Liu Shengyi Jian who came in. How strong is Zhao Bai? Zhu Yiren put the long sword in his hand into the scabbard and said, "Stronger than you and me." Liu Shengyi Jian said. No wonder he dared to come to the northern 9 counties. Can you and I kill him together? Zhu Yiren continued to ask. If one person dies, he can be killed. Liu Shengyi Jian said, after thinking for a moment. One person tried his best to block the other party, and the other secretly made a move and sent a fatal sword. Is that so? Zhu Yiren frowned slightly. But this is not important. What is important is that I feel that Zhao Bai's focus is not for the property left by Leng Xianqi in Longbei County, or there is something particularly important in the property. Liu Shengyi said thoughtfully. It must be something extraordinary to make the newly appointed second leader of the Xiangxia League come to Longbei County to take risks. Zhu Yiren frowned slightly when he heard this. So I don't want these people to take anything out of Longbei County. Send a message to the Lord in the 3 Dragons and ask the 3 Dragons to come in person. Liu Shengyi said. Now Yan Nanshan and Ding Peng have both started to retreat. They are thinking about improving their strength to the stage of Dunshan turning into sea. Yan Nanshan and Ding Peng have a solid foundation, and under the guidance of Li Chenzhao, they have already had the ability to turn Anshan into sea. I believe that, when they come out of retreat, they must have entered that realm. As for the divine power, this time, Yi and the 2 of them traded with the Evil League in the capital and gained something, which must have given them a clearer understanding of their own martial arts path. Let's split into 2 groups. I'll continue to monitor Zhao Bai, and you'll intercept and kill the people transporting their property. Liu Shengyi suggested. Okay. Zhu Yiren nodded. By the way, there's also Zhao Xiaodi, the amorous fairy from the Paradise Palace. She came to Longbei County to meet someone. That person will arrive tomorrow. You ask the members of the Qinglang Society here to keep an eye on him. Liu Shengyi thought of some news he had heard in Zhao Xiaodi's mansion before, and said, meet tomorrow. It seems that there are no big names coming into Longbei County now, except for the new Longbei County Magistrate Mo Feng. Zhu Yiren had some understanding of the situation in Longbei County, so he spoke up. Longbei County Magistrate? You mean the person Zhao Xiaodi is waiting for is a Longbei County Magistrate? The person who will take over Zi Mufeng is from the Zi family. The current head of the Zi family has a relationship with the Evil Alliance. If the person Zhao Xiaodi wants to see is Mo Feng, then it means that Paradise Palace and Evil Alliance are trading. The 2 parties are trading in Longbei County. Do they want to do something? Liu Shengyi said in a deep voice. This matter should be reported to the master by carrier pigeon. See the arrangement of the master. You and I will act according to the plan first. Liu Shengyi said and turned to leave. Zhu Yiren stood up, looked out the window, and left with a sword. Night was approaching. A carriage slowly drove out of the city gate. The carriages on the official road in the evening were gradually becoming scarce. After this carriage left the city, the speed increased. After a while, suddenly, a sword light fell from the sky and slashed at the speeding carriage, splitting the speeding carriage in half with a sword. Boxes fell from the carriage, but they were empty. The man who had made the move fell down and looked at the empty boxes on the ground with a startled expression. Zhu Yiren from the Qinglang Society? At this time, a figure stepped over from a distance. The man was a sturdy man with a dark red long sword on his back. The man had very long hair, and a fierce killing intent was faintly emanating from his body, especially his face. There was a hideous scar on his face. The scar extended from his forehead to the cheek under his left eye. The scar was very deep and hideous like a centipede. Combined with his fierce killing intent, this man looked a little scary. Someone from the Xiangxia League. Zhu Yiren, who had drawn his sword earlier, frowned slightly when he looked at the man who came. Judging from the current situation, the other party's play should be waiting for him, and his eyes looked around. There is no one else, and I'm the only one who can kill you. one of the 4 great swordsmen under the leader of the Xiangxia League, Zhuofian, the tyrant sword. The man said. As he spoke, a ferocity and brutality burst out from his body, and along with the ferocity, a terrifying sword energy burst out from his body, and rushed towards Zhu Yiren. Chapter 462 My sword is faster than your knife. Zodiac card Drat card. Zhu Yiren's eyes condensed. The violent aura of the other party made him know that the other party was also a person who was good at killing. He clenched the long sword in his hand, and his black eyes became cold and fierce. The sword intent on his body also began to condense, and the invisible killing aura burst out from him. Zhuofian, who called himself the Tyrant Sword, sensed the killing sword intent emanating from Zhu Yiren, and his eyes became scarlet. Killing you, my killing intent should be able to go further and enter the Danshan transformation seal level. Zhuofian said coldly. Killing you will also increase my sword intent, which should be able to help me enter the Danshan transformation sea level in a shorter time. Zhu Yiren also spoke. Really? Then it depends on who of us leaves. When Zhuofian spoke, the fierceness in his eyes became stronger, and a terrifying sword intent spread over him. Zhu Yiren's sword intent is very strong, and he must burst out with absolute strength. Bang! He stepped on the ground, and his figure flew past like an arrow. In a flash, he appeared in front of Zhu Yiren. The dark red longsword on his back had appeared in his hand. With a swish, the sharp blade light slashed towards Zhu Yiren's throat in a very spicy manner. He was ruthless and experienced, but he did not show the terrifying sword intent. It seemed that he was testing Zhu Yiren's sword intent. The blade light passed through Zhu Yiren's eyes. Zhu Yiren moved slightly, stepped back, and dodged the knife. The sharp blade light passed through his throat with a sound of breaking through the air. But Zhu Yiren's eyes did not fluctuate at all, and his right hand holding the hilt of the long sword in his hand, did not shake at all. Are you disdainful of drawing your sword for such an attack? Not seeing Zhu Yiren draw his sword, Zhuofian's pupils shrank suddenly. The dark red longsword in his hand suddenly turned, and the terrifying sword energy burst out from his sword light, covering the sky and the earth, like a whirlwind attacking Zhu Yiren's vital points. Seeing this, Zhu Yiren frowned slightly, and continued to retreat, avoiding the sword light that enveloped him. Do you think that you can make me draw my sword with such a sword intent? You are a tyrant sword, which is a disgrace to this title. Zhu Yiren said coldly as he retreated. While speaking, Zhu Yiren's expression did not relax at all. There has always been such a saying in the martial arts world. It's just that the name is wrong, but the number is not wrong. This person is called the Tyrant Sword. It will never be so simple to draw a sword. Hearing Zhu Yiren's words, the Tyrant Sword Zhuofian's face did not change, but his aura changed. The sword light on the dark red longsword in his hand was diffused, and then he slashed with a sword, and a dazzling sword light like a streak burst out from his longsword. As soon as this sword came out, the sky, which had begun to darken, instantly appeared a brilliant sword light, and the sword light fell towards Zhu Yiren with a force that could split rivers and streams. Boom. This sword, shining like the sun and the moon, has the power to block rivers and cut seas. Zhu Yiren retreated quickly, and the place where he was split in half by a knife. This knife was extremely domineering. After retreating, some of Zhu Yiren's long hair beside his ears was cut off, and fell on the ground. After the knife flashed, Zhuofian soared into the air, his robe fluttering, and a domineering knife aura rushed straight into the sky from him. Don't you want to see my knife? I wonder how many of my knives you can block. Zhuofian locked his eyes on Zhu Yiren, and his hand holding the long knife slashed out instantly. This knife was like drawing a knife to cut through water, rushing forward continuously. At a glance, it was all knife light, forming a wave, and sweeping towards Zhu Yiren. Zhu Yiren's eyebrows trembled, and the strength of this domineering knife Zhuofian was somewhat beyond his expectations. His eyes were solemn, but his swordsmanship was equally domineering and terrifying. He shouted, and his body soared into the air, and the long sword in his hand instantly slashed out. The sword energy was crisscrossed. The huge sword energy collided with the wave like knife light. Boom. A shocking power wave erupted from the place where the two sides fought, forming a power wave that collided with the air and made a rapid and sharp sound. After a while, the knife and sword energy dissipated. However, at the moment of dissipation, the ears of both sides heard a sound of knife and sword. At the same time, they looked up and saw a dark red knife light on one side and a grey sword light on the other, tearing the air and whistling down. A strong sense of crisis rose in the hearts of both sides at the same time. Bang! The figures retreated rapidly backwards at the same time to avoid the sword and knife light. However, while they were dodging the attack, they stepped on the ground and shot towards each other again, and the long sword and long knife collided with each other. Rumble. Then the sword and knife light enveloped the two of them, and no human figure could be seen at all. The coachman who had driven the carriage flew backwards under the sword and knife light, spitting blood from his mouth, and fell to the ground without a breath. The two did not know how long they had fought. The long sword in Zhuofian's hand suddenly changed, and he slashed out with one move. Zhu Yiren raised his sword to block, but Zhuofian's sword instantly transformed into 3 moves. 3 continuous moves, and also with a strong force. Zhu Yiren's palm holding the sword moved slightly. The opponent's Kijin vibrated his wrist through the long sword. If it continued, his wrist would be disconnected due to such force. Once disconnected, the opponent's sword force would be continuous. At this moment, Zhu Yiren felt a strong sense of crisis in his heart. Puff! Another sword force penetrated the long sword and poured into Zhu Yiren's wrist. A meridian cracked, and blood spurted out. Seeing this situation, Zhuofian showed a ferocious look on his face, and the long sword in his hand turned and slashed towards Zhu Yiren's wrist. Zhu Yiren's wrist meridians were broken, and he had to dodge the opponent's long sword. The long sword in his hand fell to the ground. Seeing this, Zhuofian stepped closer to Zhu Yiren, and the long sword turned again, slashing towards Zhu Yiren's chest, trying to cut Zhu Yiren's body in half. At this critical moment, Zhu Yiren tapped his right foot and turned his body to avoid the knife. At the moment of avoiding, his left hand instantly grasped the falling long sword. Then, in a flash, the sword energy on the long sword burst out with a lightning speed, piercing the opponent's throat. Puff! After the sword energy pierced the throat, Zhu Yiren retreated. In an instant, he stabbed several sword energies in succession, piercing the opponent's heart and limbs. Plop! Zhuofian fell to the ground in astonishment, with disbelief in his eyes. He was about to kill Zhu Yiren. I exposed a flaw and let you take action. You grasped it, but your sword is not as fast as my sword, so you die. Zhu Yiren put his long sword on the ground, looking at Zhuofian's body, and said in a deep voice. After saying that, his figure did not stop, and left in an instant. This is not the carriage that the other party used to transport the property, so the vehicle that transported the property should still be in the city, and the other party is obviously calculating against them. In this case, Liu Shengai might be in danger. At this time, in a house in the city, Zhao Bai slowly put a jade card engraved with a mouse into the brocade box. The rat card of the 12 zodiac cards. With this rat card, the military advisor should be able to calculate the positions of the other zodiac cards. Once the leader gets this zodiac card, he will surely be able to guess the mystery and become even stronger. Zhao Bai's eyes were fiery. Chapter 463, Heartless Annihilation / Stormy Rain Sword Technique. He carefully closed the brocade box. This jade token was his real purpose for coming to Beijing. The others were just some cover. When he put the brocade box in his arms, a figure rushed in from outside the courtyard. Alliance leader, Beidao lost his hand and died at the hands of Zhu Yiren, but Zhu Yiren should also be injured. The person who came in reported that Zhu Yiren should have just entered the 9 difficulties of heaven and man. How could he kill Beidao? Zhao Bai said in a deep voice. From the scars and the stunned look, he died because a sword energy pierced his throat. The opponent's sword speed surprised the left protector. The person who came should have checked Zhuofian's body. The people of Qingdanghu can't be underestimated. How is Juba? Is anyone following him? Zhao Bai asked in a deep voice. Nangang protector didn't encounter any interception. The person who came shook his head. No interception? Then let Nangang Jiu send the things and come to meet me immediately, and we will leave Longbei County together. Zhao Bai said. He always felt that there was a pair of eyes watching him. Yes, I will notify Nangang protector immediately. The visitor bowed and left the room. After the visitor left, two figures walked out of the room. One of them held a long spear, which was grey, and had nothing special. The man holding the spear was wearing a grey robe. When he walked out, he was very straight, and his eyes seemed to be focused on one point, which was extremely sharp. The other person was wearing brocade clothes, and holding a long sword in his hand. The long sword was slender and a little longer than the ordinary long sword. There were gems engraved on the scabbard, which looked a bit gorgeous. These two people were like Beidao. Both of them were masters directly under the Xiangsha Alliance leader. The Xiangsha Alliance leader had 4 great swordsmen, 3 great sword masters, 2 gun masters, and a wine guest. This time, there were 4 people following Zhao Bie, Zeduofian, the tyrant sword, Kao Zhengyang, the famous sword, Shimuming, the grey spear, and Nangang Jiu, the wine tyrant. The 4 had been hiding in the dark. They just wanted to see if anyone from the Qinglang Society would make a move and kill the people from the Qinglang Society, but they didn't expect that they would fail. Tyrant Sword, who took the lead, died in the hands of Zhu Yiren. There are not many masters from the Qinglang Society. Second Alliance leader, should we return now? Said Hui Kiang Shimuming. There is a pair of eyes watching us. If we move, the other party will also move. We have left Longbei County, but we may not be able to leave the 9 northern counties. Zhao Bie said with a frown. He had already got the things, and he also wanted to leave. But the people in the dark gave him a very dangerous feeling. He might not be afraid of a direct attack, but the Qinglang Society is a killer organization. If they take them by surprise, even he may not be able to escape from them. So he must be cautious. Hearing this, the sword Kao Zhengyang said, then force him out. As long as we move, I think the people in the dark will also move. Then we should be able to find the other party. Okay, we will set off tomorrow. Zhao Bi said. Although it is convenient to travel at night, it is also convenient for the other party to attack, so traveling at night is not good for them. Once there is a problem in the travel, even if they can get out of Longbei County, they can't get out of the 9 northern counties and return to Xiangsha League. What they want is a victory. Only a big victory can stop the other party's steps and give them time to return to Xiangsha League. Late at night, Su Chen put a scroll in his hand, and a prompt appeared in his mind, triggering an orange lottery card. Then he took out a yellowed ancient book. These are all ancient books and martial arts secrets brought back from Xianshan Sect and Rosewood Palace. Discover Xianshan Sword Secret Fragment. Destroy sword to reward 1 orange lottery card. Su Chen moved slightly. He didn't expect that there would be a fragment of the Xianshan Sword Secret Fragment here. Of course, what made him pay attention was the later destroy sword. Investigate. The fragment of the Xianshan Sword Art Secret Manual. Sword Art of Destruction. Description. The sword is originally upright, but it can also be surprising. It focuses on killing and destruction. The way of sword destruction. The heart has killing, and the sword intention can also kill. To practice the way of sword destruction, sword energy, sword intention, sword body, and sword heart, you must focus on killing. Use killing intention to fill your own danshan, and then use killing to condense the divine power, step through the void, and break the gate of heaven. Although this is a fragment, it can also strengthen those who practice the way of killing sword, temper their own spiritual will, control their own killing intention, to integrate into the danshan, and reach the level of danshan turning into sea. The killing intention is pervasive in the danshan, and the power is extraordinary. Looking at the yellowed secret book in his hand, Su Chen grinned. Yu Jiao Yajin and Zhu Yiren's swordsmanship are very suitable for this way of sword destruction. They comprehend this way of sword destruction and integrate it into their own sword intention. I believe they will soon be able to reach the level of danshan turning into sea. There are already many summoned characters, but their strengths are somewhat uneven. He has been thinking about how to improve the strength of the summoned characters. Originally, he wanted to use the lottery, but the things he got recently were not very good. So the character's strength improvement depends entirely on himself. But martial arts improvement is not something you can improve quickly, just because you want it to be. Sometimes you need external help. Martial arts, precious medicine, etc. A person's strength is composed of weapons and unique skills in addition to cultivation. Although the characters he summoned all have their own unique skills and martial arts cognition. But this world is different from their previous world. From the perspective of comprehensive martial arts, the martial arts system in this world is much higher than that of the summoned characters, so the unique skills that adapt to them will be of great help to them. Then he looked at the 3 orange lottery cards in his mind that he had worked hard for a day. Chen felt that he was lucky today and drew them directly. Hosts exclusive character Liu Shengyijian swordsmanship. Juking Jumisen. Hosts Ziyu swordsmanship upgraded swordsmanship. Bao Fenghua Niu swordsmanship. Zhu Yiren's exclusive 10-year swordsmanship cultivation. Yeah. Looking at the things he got this time, Chen's face showed joy. Very useful things. Liu Shengyijian's exclusive swordsmanship. Zhu Yiren's exclusive 10-year swordsmanship. This is to improve the strength of the two. Zhu Yiren's 10-year swordsmanship. According to reason, with Zhu Yiren's qualifications, these 10 years of swordsmanship will definitely help him enter the realm of Danshan Transformation C. As for Liu Shengyijian's ruthless extermination, combined with his own martial arts ideas of being ruthless and righteous for the swordsmanship, I believe it can also help him transform Danshan into the sea. As for the storm illusion rain sword art given to him, Chen took a look and found that the power was improved by more than 1 level. How can a drizzle be compared with a storm? Moreover, this sword also carries a trace of illusion, which can confuse the opponent's mind. Once the opponent's mind is affected, he can only die in hatred when he falls into his storm-like continuous offensive. Thinking of this, Chen first instilled Liu Shengyijian and Zhu Yiren's rewards directly to them. The benefit of exclusiveness is that it can directly act on the character. Late at night, Longli County, Zhu Yiren sat cross-legged there, recovering from his injuries, while Liu Shengyijian was beside him. Suddenly, a huge wave of power emerged from Zhu Yiren's body. Zhu Yiren, who had closed his eyes, suddenly opened them, but then closed them again. Chapter 464, Heavenly Thought Stone, Bliss Powder, and Scheming Against Chen. At this time, a powerful sword power appeared in his body, and the blood and ki in his body burst out under this sword power. The surging ki was boiling in his body. The long sword was placed in front of him. With the sword intent on his body, it began to vibrate violently, swallowing and spitting out dazzling sword intent. But this sword intent was quickly gathered and went into Zhu Yiren's body. The sword intent flowed towards the Danshan, and the sword power in the Danshan gradually turned into a sea of swords, and some of his previous injuries were quickly healed under this power. Not far away, Liu Shengyijian's reaction at this time was completely opposite to Zhu Yiren's. In his mind, a figure appeared, and the figure that appeared exuded a terrifying power fluctuation. This figure did not make too many movements, but a heartless and righteous sword secret was emitted from this figure, and it merged with his sword. Liu Shengyijian's sword is ruthless. When a prototype of a sword appears, it will accompany a sword master for his whole life. When he felt the sword intent, the figure slashed out with a sword. When the sword slashed out, Liu Shengyijian's mind was startled. In his mind, when the sword came out, a sword intent that cut off all sharp edges appeared. The whole mind seemed to be frozen and unable to move. But this slash quickly merged into his mind, as if it belonged to him exclusively, without any need for rejection. At this moment, the Danshan in his body also changed. Many warriors find it difficult to cross this step, but now there is no bottleneck in front of them. Time passed. The two sat in the house like statues. There was no movement. The next day a ray of sunlight shone into the room. Zhu Yiren and Liu Shengyijian opened their eyes at the same time. Zhu Yiren's eyes showed a hint of depth, while Liu Shengyijian's eyes showed sharpness and cruelty. You and I should be able to fight Zhao Bie now, Zhu Yiren said. Liu Shengyijian said, many times, you will know that Zhao Bie is not simple after fighting. Liu Shengyijian never underestimates any opponent. Although he took this step, his opponent was already at this step. The martial arts practice in this world cannot be underestimated. Pushing open the door, a figure was standing in the courtyard. Seeing Liu Shengyijian coming out, he immediately stepped forward. Sir, the convoy that transported the property of the Xiangxia League has been found. The one who escorted this batch of property is Nangang Jiu, the wine tyrant who sits under the Xiangxia League leader. The people in the courtyard reported. Nangang Jiu, this person is not simple. Where are they now? Liu Shengyajian said. We just arrived in kitchen. If we set off now, we should be able to catch up with them after they leave kitchen. The person who came said. Leave this matter to me, and leave this to you. But judging from the number of people who appeared on the other side, there should be other people around. You should be careful here. It's best to wait for the 3 dragon heads to come over, Zhu Yiren suggested. After speaking, he said to the person who came, lead the way. The two quickly walked out of the courtyard and went to intercept Nangang Jiu. After Nangang Jiu left, Liu Shengyajian's eyes flashed with light, and just as he was about to leave, a figure quickly came over. My lord, Zhao Bai has left. The person reported. I know. Liu Shengyajian nodded and quickly left the courtyard. At this time, in another courtyard of the amorous fairy Zhao Xiaodi, a woman in a blue skirt appeared in front of Zhao Xiaodi. Zhao Bai has left, and he left Longbei County earlier than us. It shouldn't be that easy for him to leave Longbei County. If it's so easy for Zhao Bai to leave, then how can the Qinglang Club show its control over the 9 northern counties? Zhao Xiaodi said softly. You mean that the Qinglang Society will attack Zhao Bai? Zhao Bai is probably well prepared this time. If the Qinglang Society attacks, it will probably be severely damaged. Zhao Bai's aura is very terrifying. I guess only Li Chenhao, the 3rd dragon leader of the Qinglang Society, can deal with it. I hope that Li Chenhao can come. If he can come, there will be a fierce duel. The woman in the blue skirt said in a deep voice. I think we will see. By the way, Mo Feng should be here today. Master is in urgent need of the Heavenly Mind Stone. Zhao Xiaodi said in a deep voice. The Heavenly Mind Stone is a thing that can condense the soul. Her master, the Deputy Palace Master of the Elysian Palace, Yugu Yaoji, is preparing to attack the sea to condense the soul, but has not been able to realize her own divine power, so she wants to use the Heavenly Mind Stone to consolidate her own soul power and forcibly condense the divine power. According to the time calculation, today is the day when Mo Feng will take office in Longbei County. There is a time limit for taking office, and he will not be late. It's just right that, while others are paying attention to Jiangxia League and Qinglang Club, I will go with you to meet the new county governor. Zhao Xiaodi said as she stood up. When they set off, outside the county governor's mansion in Longbei County, 2 sedan chairs appeared in front of the county governor's door. In the front sedan chair, a middle-aged man in a brocade robe came out, and in the sedan chair behind him was an old man holding a palm leaf fan. The middle-aged steward who was accompanying the sedan chair came to the county governor's mansion first, and took out the token to the attendant in front of the county governor's mansion. The new county governor has arrived. Seeing the token, the attendant at the door immediately bowed. He saluted the middle-aged man behind the middle-aged steward. This middle-aged man was the newly appointed county governor of Longbei County, Mo Feng. Mo Feng nodded and stepped into the courtyard. Behind him, the old man holding a palm leaf fan followed him into the courtyard, one after the other. Inside the mansion, the servants and guards quickly saluted. Replace these maids and servants, and ask the mayors of each city in Longbei County to come to the county government to see me within 5 days. The middle-aged man said to the housekeeper beside him. Yes, I will arrange it right away. The follower bowed. After a while, the 3 of them came to the banquet hall. The housekeeper arranged for someone to serve tea to Mo Feng and the old man, and then quickly withdrew. This is Mo Feng's staff. We should stay and examine them first. Master, there are some doubts about Mo Feng over there. They guess that he seems to know something. Otherwise, he would not bypass the master and arrange to transfer back to the capital. The old man holding a palm leaf fan said. I don't know if this Mo Feng is smart or stupid. He can still protect himself in Longbei County, but I'm afraid he won't live long in the capital. Mo Feng, who was sitting in the first seat, said coldly. Don't underestimate Mo Feng. He dared to go back. He must have some confidence. I just don't know where his confidence comes from. This is also one of the reasons why you and I came here. By the way, Zhao Xiaodi from the Jile Palace will come today. This time, They are willing to use the formula of Jal powder to exchange for the heavenly thought stone with us. With the formula of Gile powder, we can also prepare Gile powder. By then, I believe we can quickly control the power of Longboi County and use it for our own benefit. Maybe we can even infiltrate the Qinglang Society. The old man with the cat tail leaf fan said softly. Other people are not important. What is important is the head of the Shan sect, Su Chen, the young leader of the Qinglang Society. If we can control him, we can get more information and secretly control the power of the Qinglang Society in the 9 northern counties. Mo Feng's eyes flashed with cold light when he said this. Chapter 465. Liu Sheng's sword, Grey Spear, famous sword, 1 fight, 2, beheading, combined into 1 chapter. From Mo Feng's words, we can know that the purpose of their coming here is to use the paradise powder of Paradise Palace to control Su Chen. The ambition is not small. We should not underestimate this Su Chen. Although he is young, he must be very important to be pushed out by the Qinglang Society. I will first explore some of his habits and then make plans. The old man holding the cat tail leaf fan said in a deep voice. All this will trouble Mr. Fang. Mo Feng said to the old man with the cat tail leaf fan. Mo County Governor, I'm here to assist you in completing the layout in Longboi County. As long as you and I complete this task, our status in the alliance will definitely be further improved and we will get what we want. The old man with the cat tail leaf fan said. At this time, the middle-aged housekeeper who left earlier walked in from outside. Master, Mr. Fang, Zhao Xiaodi from Paradise Palace is outside and wants to see you. The middle-aged housekeeper said. Are they really anxious? Is there something else happening in Longboi County? Mo Feng said. It should be related to the World Alliance. Zhao Bie, the new second leader of the World Alliance, left early this morning. The people of the Qinglang Society will not let it go. I'm afraid there will be a war once Zhao Bie leaves, said the middle-aged housekeeper. It seems that the middle-aged housekeeper knows what happened in Longboi County. Hearing the words of the middle-aged housekeeper, Mo Feng and Mr. Fang's faces moved slightly. Please ask Zhao Xiaodi to come in first. Mo Feng nodded. The middle-aged housekeeper withdrew. I didn't expect that there would be a war as soon as we arrived. Mr. Fang, should we go and see it? Mo Feng wanted to see the strength of the Qinglang Society. At this moment, you and I have just arrived, so we should not attract too much attention. After they fight, we can collect information. Mr. Fang shook his head and said. Then listen to Mr. Fang, but it is rumored that the passionate fairy Zhao Xiaodi has a beautiful face and is a rare beauty. I wonder if there is a chance to practice dual cultivation with her. When Mo Feng spoke, a lewd light flashed in his eyes. At this moment, the layer of majesty on his body disappeared completely. Although this amorous fairy is known to be amorous, it is rare for Zhao Xiaodi to get close to men. Mr. Fang said, is she still a virgin? That would be even better. Mo Feng was in a very good mood when he said this and laughed loudly. Mr. Fang, who was sitting next to him, was silent. After a while, the middle-aged housekeeper brought Zhao Xiaodi and the woman in the blue skirt to the banquet hall. When Zhao Xiaodi appeared at the door, Mo Feng, who was sitting in the first seat, had his eyes slightly lit up. Zhao Xiaodi was wearing a veil, but when she entered the banquet hall, she moved her lotus steps slowly forward, revealing her graceful figure between her steps, full of incomparable temptation. Just one look, no one could help but be moved. The face under the veil should be more attractive, but what surprised me was that Zhao Xiaodi was really a virgin. If I practiced with her, my skills would definitely be able to go a step further. Mo Feng said in his heart, and a hint of evil flashed in the depths of his eyes. Although Mo Feng is a county magistrate, he does practice the evil method, heavenly desire divine art. Although it is called a divine art, it is actually a method of replenishing yin and yang. Hello, County Magistrate Mo. Hello, Mr. Fang. After Zhao Xiaodi entered the room, she bowed slightly to the two of them, with graceful manners, revealing a sense of charm. This is an instinct. People who practice in the Paradise Palace all have this kind of charm and charm. Miss Zhao is too polite. I wonder if you have brought the things we want. Mo Feng gathered his mind and said. The things are on my daughter. I wonder if Master Mo has brought the heavenly thought stone that my master needs? Xiaodi said. The things are here with me. The speaker was Mr. Fang. He took out a brocade box from his arms, opened the brocade box, and a square stone appeared in front of everyone. But when everyone looked at it, their eyes became a little blurry, as if their spirits were affected by something. Xiaodi immediately looked away, and Mr. Fang had never noticed the heavenly thought stone in the brocade box, so he was not affected. He slowly covered the brocade box. Then he stood up and handed the brocade box to Xiaodi. Xiaodi picked up the brocade box, slowly put it in her arms, took out a yellowed bone paper from her arms, and handed it to Mr. Fang. This is the formula information of the gel powder. Mr. Fang can arrange for someone to check it. Xiaodi said. Mr. Fang took the ancient paper and carefully examined it. He was an expert in this field and he could tell it by himself. After a careful examination, Mr. Fang put the ancient paper away. There is no problem with the formula. Our master asked me to pass a message to your master, hoping that your master will go to the capital to have a talk after the breakthrough. Mr. Fang said, I will pass this message to master and say hello to that master on behalf of master. Xiaodi said. Their transaction was agreed upon by her master and the master in the capital, so there was no need to be on guard. This is also the reason why the old man surnamed Fang handed the things to her so happily. Mo County Magistrate, Mr. Fang, master is still waiting for the heavenly thought stone. I will not stay here any longer. I will return to Paradise Palace first. Xiaodi bowed. Okay. Mo Feng and Mr. Fang nodded and did not keep Xiaodi for long. After Xiaodi left, Mo Feng's eyes changed and he said, I didn't expect that Xiaodi was still a virgin. As Mr. Fang said, she practiced the 9-yin heavenly cicada skill of the Jade Bone Demon Girl of Paradise Palace. If she has not lost her yin ki over the years, if I absorb it, it may help me step into the 7 difficulties of heaven and man. This Xiaodi is not simple. You should pay attention to the blue skirt woman next to her. Her strength is in the 6 difficulties of heaven and man. Mr. Fang said, now I have to trouble Mr. Fang to take action. With Mr. Fang's strength, there is no problem in taking them down. After the matter is done, I'm willing to take out the calligraphy of Liuzizi, a great master of the previous dynasty, which I have treasured for many years, and give it to Mr. Fang. Mo Feng said. Hearing this, Mr. Fang smiled. Thank you, Lord County Magistrate. We will start when they leave Longbei County. Mr. Fang said. Outside the mansion. Xiaodi, are we leaving Longbei County now? The blue-skirted woman said. Give the things to the guardian beside master, and we will go to see the battle between King Long Society and Xiaobi. This is a rare battle, which is good for us. Also, Longbei County has always been the territory of Hanyu sect. We Child Palace want to intervene here, but we have never found an opportunity. If King Long Society is strong, how about we cooperate with King Long Society? I also want to meet King Long Society's young leader Chen. This person has always lived in seclusion, unlike others. Xiaodi said. Okay, then I will give the things to the guardian, and you can leave a secret code at that time, and I will find you. The blue-skirted woman nodded. They did not do anything to harm the King Long Society in Longbei County, so the King Long Society would not attack them. Moreover, it would be a good thing for them to come to the 9 northern counties this time and meet the young leader of the King Long Society. The blue-skirted woman said, and separated from Xiaodi. She had to send the Shine Stone first. After separating from the blue-skirted woman, Xiaodi headed out of the city. It took a lot of time to come to the county governor's mansion. I need to catch up as soon as possible. In a carriage outside the city, Xiaobi sat in it, and there was no one else. The driver was a grey-clothed man named Hui Kailang. The carriage was neither fast nor slow. I hope you can show up. Xiaobi thought in his heart. Sooner or later, there will be a battle. Of course, he hopes that the sooner the better. The longer the time is delayed, the more perfect the King Long Society layout will be. In that case, the extent of the war may be beyond his expectations. It's just that he is waiting, but no one here moves. Liu Shengyijian follows behind the carriage. He has not yet found out the real purpose of Xiaobi coming here to seize Bijin. If something unexpected happens if he attacks now, then the other party may be able to achieve the purpose of coming to seize Bijin this time. So to take action, Zhu Yiren still needs to take action first. Stop the batch of goods, take a look at the contents of the batch of goods, and then kill Xiaobi of the World Alliance. Liu Shengyi is now a hunter. He has patience, which is a necessary ability for a swordsman. Looking at the carriage moving forward, Liu Shengyi's eyes turned cold, and the sword intent that was originally hidden in his body spread out. He did not attack, but he intended to put pressure on the other party. Xiaobi frowned slightly in the carriage. He could sense the emergence of a sword intent, but this sword intent disappeared after it appeared. What is this trying to do? Xiaobi did not understand the other party's intention. The carriage continued to move forward. This sword intent is emitted from time to time. Is it trying to put pressure on me, or to affect my itinerary? Xiaobi murmured in his mouth. I'll drive the carriage, you and Mingjian go meet Liu Shengyijian who is following us. Zhu Yiren was injured before, so he shouldn't follow them, so Xiaobi knew that it was Liu Shengyijian who followed them. Liu Shengyijian's strength is about the same as Zhu Yiren. After investigating Badao's death, Zhu Yiren's last move should have been to seize Badao's gap and kill Badao with one blow. Mingjian and Hu Qiang's strength is about the same as Badao. If they join forces, Liu Shengyijian will surely die. Hu Qiang Shimiming, who was driving the carriage, pulled the reins. The carriage stopped, and his figure flashed to the ground, and Xiaobi's carriage continued to move forward. Xiaobi could sense the sword intent emanating from Liu Shengyijian. As a master of spearmanship, Hu Qiang Shimiming could also sense the sword intent emanating from Liu Shengyijian. The grey spear Shimiming fell down, and his right hand moved slightly. A grey short spear appeared in his sleeve. He held it on his right hand, and then held the spearhead with his left hand. With both hands, a long spear appeared. The whole spear was grey, but the tip of the spear emitted a cold light, which showed the sharpness of the spearhead. He looked at one place. Yajihuichikan, since you are here, show up. Shimiming's voice was calm, but he was holding the spear with his right hand, but he was a little forceful. Yajihuichikan's swordsmanship revealed a death. He was an extremely strong swordsman. He could not be careless. The air seemed very quiet for a while. The atmosphere seemed a little depressed. Yajihuichikan in the dark looked at the grey spear Shimiming in the middle of the road. His eyes narrowed slightly. He was slightly surprised. The grey-clothed man driving the carriage seemed very clean when he did not have an explosive breath, but now he was standing in the middle of the road. The sharp breath exuded from his body should not be underestimated. If he did not break through, he might not have a chance to win against such a master. Of course, now, he used the newly acquired Juking Jumozan, and with one sword, the opponent would definitely die. He stepped forward. Liu Shengyijian showed his figure, and walked towards the grey spear Shimiming. When Liu Shengyijian stepped out, Shimiming in the middle of the road moved. He stepped on the ground with his body, and a strong energy appeared around him. He instantly raised the spear in his hand and shot out. The energy on the tip of the spear surged, like thunder, collided with the surrounding space and exploded directly, and went towards Liu Shengyijian swiftly and fiercely. Grey spear Shimiming gave people a very ordinary feeling, but his attack was extremely cruel and quick. He liked to do things without giving the opponent a chance to attack. Facing anyone, he wanted to take the initiative. The energy on the spear surged, collided with the air, formed a storm airflow, and went towards Liu Shengyijian. At this moment, Liu Shengyijian's eyes only saw the tip of the spear and the spear energy. These lights covered his eyes, and there was a whistling sound in his ears. This attack instantly put Liu Shengyijian in a storm. Liu Shengyijian's eyes narrowed slightly. He could sense the power of this spear. The long sword in his hand appeared instantly, and he slashed with a backhand sword. The sword energy was crisscrossed, just as fast, just as a storm. Although the long sword was released later, it collided with the long spear that was stabbed violently by the grey spear stone tomb. Bang! Two equally violent forces collided with each other. There was a burst of fierce sparks and explosions, and then the two people staggered. Just as they staggered, Suddenly, a figure appeared from the dark, and the figure with the long sword in his hand instantly attacked Liu Shengyijian. The sword light was dazzling, and it was somewhat eye-catching. This dazzling sword light was not the sword energy, but the light emitted by the long sword itself. The light was dazzling. The person who made the move was the famous sword Kao Zhengyang, who had been in the dark. Kao Zhengyang's sword had a gem on the hilt, and under the effect of his energy, the gem would emit light. This kind of light will affect people's vision. Once people's vision is affected, their speed of attack will be slow, and if they are slow, they will die under Kao Zhengyang's sword. Kao Zhengyang's sword was very fast, and it instantly penetrated Liu Shengyijian's body. Puff! Liu Shengyijian's body was penetrated by his sword, but there was no blood. Kao Zhengyang's face was full of smiles, but he didn't expect that his sword would miss. His figure retreated rapidly, but when he retreated, a terrifying sword light instantly enveloped him. Suddenly, his mind was stunned, and the hair on his body stood up, and his whole body was terrified. Not good. He shouted in his heart, but under the cover of this fierce sword light, he felt that his body meridian seemed to be frozen, and a shadow of death appeared in his heart. He retreated rapidly, but his speed of retreat was not as fast as the sword light that enveloped him. Instinctively, he could only raise the long sword in his hand to resist the sword light that enveloped him. However, swish! When his long sword touched the opponent's sword, it broke, and then he saw a sword light that penetrated everything and appeared in front of him. Then he felt a pain in his neck. Then he lost consciousness. At this time, Kao Zhengyang, who had attacked by surprise, had his huge head separated from his neck and fell to the ground, rolling about 1 meter away. Blood spurted from the broken neck. The head on the ground had a look of fear and disbelief in his eyes. Such a scene, Hu Qiang Shimiming, who was not far away, did not react for a while, but the head on the ground made his expression suddenly stiffen. Famous sword Kao Zhengyang, they all belonged to the leader of the World Alliance. They had worked together many times. Their strength was not weaker than his, but he was killed by the opponent's sword. Thinking of this, Hu Qiang Shimiming's face changed wildly. There is no such thing as luck when fighting between warriors. The opponent was able to kill the famous sword with one sword, and his strength was definitely stronger than his. But when they just fought, Liu Sheng's sword did not put any pressure on him. This is why the famous sword Kao Zhengyang, who was hiding in the dark, appeared. You are trying to lure him to attack. Shi Muming seemed to have thought of something, and looked at Liu Shengyijian. Yes, he was hiding in the dark, and wanted to attack secretly. Then I gave him a chance, but he didn't seize this opportunity. Liu Shengyijian's tone was very calm, but it also revealed a murderous intent. How can your strength be so strong? Didn't you just step into the 9 difficulties of heaven and man? Grey Gun Shi Muming looked at Liu Shengyijian coldly. They have read Liu Shengyijian's information several times. Otherwise, Zhao Bie would not let him join forces with the famous sword to attack Liu Shengyijian. Sometimes, the information is shown to others. What's more, the way of the sword pays attention to perception. Recently, I have a deeper perception of the way of the sword, and it is normal to break through. Recently, I have realized, or I have learned a new slash. I don't know if your gun can block it. When Liu Shengyijian spoke, the sword intent on his body began to change. He grasped the hilt of the sword with both hands, and then he raised his momentum. Suddenly, a terrifying sword intent that made people's heart palpitate burst out from the long sword in his hand. Seeing this, the pupils of the grey spear Shi Muming suddenly shrank. His whole body was like a hair explosion. He sensed that, if the opponent's slash fell, he would not be able to resist it at all. We can't let the opponent slash this blow. This is what the grey spear Shi Muming thought in his heart. He clenched the long spear in his hand tightly, stepped on the ground, and his whole body shot towards Liu Sheng's sword. All the energy in his body poured into the long spear in his hand. His body was like a tyrannosaurus, and the long spear was like a heavy mountain. The powerful force wanted to block Liu Sheng's sword. The violent long spear blocked the light and surged the air, but it still did not stop Liu Sheng's sword. The slash and the sword came out, and the originally bright sky suddenly darkened. Then space and time seemed to stop. The sword light penetrated the spear shadow and stood directly on the grey spear. Puff, the grey spear's body was directly split into two. Blood started to flow after the body fell to the ground. It's not an unjust death. I was able to use this blow. Looking at the two halves of the body on the ground, Liu Sheng inserted the long sword into the scabbard with one sword and continued to move towards the direction of the carriage that had left earlier. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466. The Wine Tyrant Nangang Jiu died in battle. Zhao Bai left with nowhere to go. Combined chapter. But when he left, his eyes glanced in one direction. After Liu Sheng Lijian left, Zhao Xiaodi, wearing a veil, walked out from a distance, looking at Liu Sheng Lijian who was leaving. Her face was a little pale. Too scary, that sword. She patted her chest and said with dry lips, originally, I wanted to see the fight between masters, but the sword just now absorbed my mind. I estimated that my mind would collapse when I encountered that sword. After a long time, Zhao Xiaodi's mind was calmed down a little. How could Liu Sheng Lijian be so strong? Zhao Xiaodi was a little unconvinced. She remembered the information of the masters who appeared in Kingdom Hu very clearly. Liu Sheng Lijian had just entered the 9 difficulties of heaven and man not long ago. But just now he fought against Xiang Xiameng, Huqiang Shimuming, the famous sword KO Zhengyang. That was an easy kill. When Huqiang fought Liu Sheng Lijian and the famous sword attacked, she thought Liu Sheng Lijian would die. Unexpectedly, the reality was different from what she thought. Who will win between Liu Sheng Lijian and Zhao Bai? Zhao Xiaodi couldn't help thinking in her heart. She moved her feet and followed. She still wanted to watch such a big battle. Liu Sheng Lijian noticed her just now and didn't attack her. Then she followed behind, and Liu Sheng Lijian shouldn't attack her. At this time, on the carriage moving forward, Zhao Bai's mind suddenly moved, as if he had a bad premonition. When a warrior reaches a certain level of strength, his mind sense is very strong. Now he has such a mind sense. Bad premonition. Will Huqiang and the others get into trouble? Zhao Bai's brows were furrowed. The carriage unconsciously slowed down a bit. The two joined forces to fight Liu Sheng Lijian. Huqiang was in front and Mingjian was in the dark. Liu Sheng Lijian shouldn't be able to hold on for long. Suddenly, Zhao Bai's expression was startled, and the sword intent that disappeared before he appeared. Liu Sheng Lijian is not dead. Zhao Bai's expression became very ugly. Liu Sheng Lijian is not dead, so the only ones who died are Huqiang and Mingjian. There are still people on the other side who deliberately revealed the sword intent just to guide me to attack him. This way they can cut off the people on my side. I was careless. Zhao Bai thought to himself. He stopped the carriage and retracted his body into the carriage, waiting for Liu Sheng Lijian who was following behind him. Concentrate your mind and sense the breath of Liu Sheng Lijian who was following behind him. Rustle. The sound of footsteps floated into his ears. Judging from this distance, the opponent was only a dozen feet away from him. His eyes were introverted, and his whole body was full of energy, and murderous intent was everywhere. If Liu Sheng Lijian continued to move forward, he would rush out of the carriage and send out a thundering blow. He didn't believe that under this thundering blow, the people following the opponent could rescue Liu Sheng Lijian. However, just as the footsteps were approaching, the aura condensed on Zhao Bai was about to reach its peak. Liu Sheng Lijian's steps seemed to have paused, standing there motionless, with no intention of showing up at all. Moreover, the distance of hiding was just beyond Zhao Bai's attack range. Damn it, why aren't you moving? Are you just following me? Seeing this, Zhao Bai's face turned gloomy. The other party didn't approach, but just followed. If he moved, he might turn around and leave, and he still couldn't take him down. You can imagine how ugly Zhao Bai's face was at this time. Not far away, Liu Sheng Lijian paused, his eyes fixed on the carriage, and sometimes invisible pressure can make a person reveal a flaw without taking action. As long as the flaw appears, he can kill the other party. Liu Shengyijian's martial arts improvement is to fight with the strong and kill the opponent. This is his martial arts practice method that is different from others. At this time, in another place, Zhu Yiren stopped the convoy of Xiangxiameng. The convoy was led by a burly strong man. The strong man had an exquisite wine gourd on his waist. It was the Xiangxiameng wine tyrant, Nangang Jiu, who came with Zhao Bai this time. Zhu Yiren, I didn't expect you to show up. It seems that the other people from the Qinglang Society are not in Longbei County. I wonder if you have recovered from the injuries you suffered in the battle with Badao. The wine tyrant Nangang Jiu looked at Zhu Yiren and said he had received the news that Badao died at the hands of Zhu Yiren, and he also knew that Zhu Yiren was injured when he fought with Badao. As he spoke, his eyes slowly emerged with a sharpness, and his breath also became surging at this moment. This surging breath brought a strong sense of oppression. Bang! The sharp breath surged, and as soon as he stepped on the ground, his figure turned into a rainbow and rushed out. Between his right hands, there were brilliant lightning lusters. Under the lightning luster, there was an extremely powerful ki gathering. Beilei Quan. The wine tyrant shouted in a low voice, and his palm fell towards Zhu Yiren. The powerful attack shook the surrounding air and made a low sound of gas explosion. Zhu Yiren dared to show up, which meant that the other party's injuries were not serious. So the wine tyrant Nangang Jiu just spoke, just to attract Zhu Yiren's attention. What he wanted was to suddenly launch his own strong attack, and the attack was violent, without a trace of retention. He believed that if his punch hit Zhu Yiren, then Zhu Yiren would definitely be seriously injured. However, facing such a fierce attack by Nangang Jiu, Zhu Yiren did not retreat, and his originally calm eyes burst into a fiery heat. He had just obtained 10 years of sword cultivation. Entering the realm of heaven and man, one can live for 100 years, and the strongest of the 9 difficulties of heaven and man can live up to 200 years. 10 years of sword cultivation is very important. The long sword held tightly in his palm was unsheathed in an instant, and the grey sword energy burst out from his long sword, turning into a sword light and slashing out instantly. Boom. The sword light collided with the palm power, and suddenly a strong power wave roared out. Swish. The sword energy collided with the thunder palm, and the energy fluctuated, and Zhu Yi's footsteps suddenly took a step, retracted the long sword, and slashed out again. The sword light tore through the space, cutting through the thunder energy, and the grey sword energy shot violently towards Nangang Jiu, who was attacking from behind. Nangang Jiu's face changed. Thunder armor. Boom. Or thunder-like shield appeared around his body, covering his palm, and then he punched out. The collision of the fist and the sword energy caused a dazzling energy fluctuation, and a series of sharp winds began to spread. Some of the drivers had retreated far away when they started. At this moment, they still felt a chill in their scalps at a distance. After taking a look at the two parties fighting, some people moved their steps and began to flee from here. They were just drivers, not members of the World Alliance. They did things for a little money, but they didn't want to die in this place. They fled from here first. If the fight was over, they would come over. Saving their lives was more important than anything else. There are no injuries on the body, which is a bit surprising. After the attack, the wine tyrant Nangang Jiu looked at Zhu Yiren with a solemn face. The opponent's sword power just now was not injured. Are you a little disappointed? Zhu Yiren's tone was flat. He did not burst out with all his strength in the previous sword. But although the opponent just burst out with a powerful fighting force, Zhu Yiren sensed that the opponent should have some means. This person should be stronger than the tyrant sword. This is a kind of perception. It is a bit disappointing, but it also makes me want to kill you and avenge the tyrant sword, the wine tyrant said in a deep voice. While speaking, his figure shot out again, and his fist was full of fist aura, and attacked Zhu Yiren. Zhu Yiren chopped out the long sword in his hand. Clang, clang. The long sword collided with the fist, and a sharp collision sound broke out. The fist aura was like iron, and it collided with Zhu Yiren's long sword, making a fierce collision sound. In this hard collision, the ki in the wine tyrant's body began to move, and thunder appeared on his body surface, faintly emitting a series of roaring sounds. Big Sun Thunder Fist. The Wine Tyrant's own practice is a thunder attribute technique, which is much stronger than ordinary ki. In addition, the thunder and lightning are violent and the attack power is strong. Even if the strength is higher than the Wine Tyrant, it will be suppressed under his thunder power. But he encountered Zhu Yiren, and Zhu Yiren's sword energy is sharp, fierce, and murderous. So his sword is also unusually sharp. There was no retreat during the fight. Seeing this, the Wine Tyrant's eyes were full of surprise. Obviously, he didn't expect Zhu Yiren to block his thunder attack with his sword energy alone. In fact, he didn't know yet. Zhu Yiren has obtained 10 years of sword cultivation. Although he has absorbed it, there are still some defects in his application. He is using this Wine Tyrant to hone his sword cultivation. This is not a solution. Seeing this situation, the Wine Tyrant's face condensed, and he punched out, retreating. Zhu Yiren, I underestimated you a little, but I will let you know why I'm called the Wine Tyrant. The Wine Tyrant's eyes turned cold, and he took the wine pot hanging on his waist in his hand, opened the lid of the pot, and gurgled. The wine in the wine pot continued to flow into his mouth. There is a medicinal power in that wine. Zhu Yiren's eyes condensed, and he could smell a medicinal smell from the wine. From the current situation, the opponent wants to use the medicinal power to increase his combat power. Zhu Yiren's expression became solemn. The sword intent condensed around his body, and he grasped the long sword in his hand. The sword light in his hand surged, and the sword in his body surged into the long sword, pushing his own sword intent to the extreme. At this moment, he has not yet shown the breath of Danshan turning into the sea. The opponent's strength has not yet reached the Danshan turning into the sea, and he does not need to show such strength. Sensing the sword intent condensed from Zhu Yiren, the Wine Tyrant's fist condensed with thunder, and lightning suddenly slammed on the ground. Bang! The ground rumbled, and a violent lightning rushed from his fist towards Zhu Yiren. This attack was not to attack Zhu Yiren from one point, but from multiple points. Zhu Yiren's eyes condensed, and the long sword in his hand slashed out instantly, forming a sword energy screen around him. Boom! The lightning and electric energy collided with Zhu Yiren's long sword, making a bang. While Zhu Yiren was resisting these lightning and electric energy, the Wine Tyrant Nangang Jiu had a ferocious look in his eyes. As he stepped on the ground, violent energy surged from his body, and his body instantly rushed out. Boom. The ground exploded and shook, and Nangang Jiu's figure tore through the air, and appeared in front of Zhu Yiren with rolling lightning and electric energy. The previous attack was to disperse the sword intent on Zhu Yiren. To give him the opportunity to attack like this, the energy exploded, the figure whistled, and the air was under this energy. The sound of explosions continued. The attack here was powerful. Zhu Yiren had been paying attention to the opponent. The opponent's attack was several times more powerful than before, and there was a vague feeling of endless energy in the Sea of Danshan. Use the power of medicinal wine to increase your combat power to the Sea of Danshan. Zhu Yiren's eyes condensed, and the aura around him suddenly surged. A huge sword energy burst out from him, and this sword energy appeared with a sound like a wave. Nangang Jiu, the Wine Tyrant who made the move, sensed this sword intent and his expression changed. But at this moment, he had no choice but to attack with all his strength. Thunder Kunpeng Fist. Nangang Jiu, the Wine Tyrant, shouted in a low voice, and at this moment, a sound like a thunder drum came out of his body. Then the lightning on his fist turned into a giant kun. The lightning around the giant kun turned into an ocean, and he moved forward in it, but it seemed that he would rush out at any time. This punch was not only surging and majestic, but also carried a powerful force. At this moment, Nangang Jiu gave people the feeling of a giant beast in human skin. Zhu Yiren's sword intent was all concentrated in his hands, and his eyes were shining. Boom. A sword was slashed out. In an instant, only a ray of light was seen. Then the light penetrated the vast river, penetrated the vast ocean, and pierced through the thunder and lightning to form a violent storm and raging waves. And there seemed to be a sense of nothingness. Nangang Jiu, who had punched, saw that the sword broke his fist force, and his face changed. But the sword light flashed in front of him. The expression on his face remained motionless. The power on the fist began to gradually disappear, and finally stood in front of Zhu Yiren. he said with difficulty. "You have already stepped into the level of Dunshan Huahei, and we have been fooled." After saying that, his body fell to the ground. There was a sword mark between his eyebrows. He was a little unwilling in his heart. If he could find out that Zhu Yiren's strength was at the level of Dunshan Huahei before, he would leave when he saw him. Although he couldn't beat Zhu Yiren, but if he wanted to leave, Zhu Yiren couldn't stop him. He wouldn't die here. Looking at Nangang Jiu lying on the ground, Zhu Yiren came forward with a bottle of corpse powder in his hand. He didn't want people to see his current strength. The corpse powder fell on Nangang Jiu's body, and Nangang Jiu's body quickly turned into a pool of thick water. He went forward to check the things in the vehicle. It was some silver, about 1 million. But Zhu Yiren frowned slightly. Although this amount of silver was a lot, it was not enough for the World Alliance to send so many people. They only needed to arrange a little bit of people here each time and slowly move away. Even if Longbei County belonged to their Qinglang Society, they might not be able to detect it. After all, they, Qinglang Society, couldn't keep an eye on any place all the time. It seems that the important things should be on Zhao Bie. I don't know if Liu Shengaijian has taken action, Zhu Yiren said in his heart. Then he waved his hand, and a group of people appeared in the dark. "Deposit all these silvers into Shan Bank," Zhu Yiren said. "Yes." The man quickly pushed the carriage away. Shan Bank was the bank that Su Chen had set up in the name of Shanman. "Let's join forces with Liu Shengyijian now. If we join forces, even Zhao Bie will never be able to leave Longbei County," Zhu Yiren thought to himself. But just when he was about to leave, his eyes looked in one direction. On a tree trunk in the distance, there stood a man in black. He saw Zhu Yiren looking at him, and waved his hand toward the sky. A brilliant firework appeared in the sky. He instantly went deep into the dense forest, so fast that he didn't give Zhu Yiren a chance to chase him. Very fast. Zhu Yiren didn't chase him. He had to go back and join Liu Shengyijian to fight the enemy. A firework appeared, followed by a stream of smoke. Zhao Bie, who was in a stalemate with Liu Shengyijian, saw the smoke appear in the sky. His expression changed, and his figure turned into a white shadow, rushed out of the carriage, and went into the dense forest on the road. Liu Shengyijian frowned, but didn't rush out. Judging from the way the other party left, he might not be able to catch up. "I have arranged people at every intersection. It's not easy to get out. The 9 northern counties are the territory of the Qinglang Society." When Liu Shengyijian followed, he notified all forces in Longbei County to pay close attention to Zhao Bie's movements. As long as Zhao Bie was dispatched, he would know where the other party was. He left quickly. After he left, Zhao Xiaodi followed and looked at the fireworks in the sky. It seems that the Jiangxia League suffered heavy losses this time, but why didn't Liu Shengyijian fight with Zhao Bie? Are they just letting Zhao Bie leave like this? Zhao Xiaodi frowned slightly, but she didn't stay here for long, turned around and left, returning to the courtyard of Longbei County. Longbei County. When Zhao Xiaodi returned to her own house, she saw a figure. Seeing this figure, Zhao Xiaodi was startled. The figure that appeared in her courtyard was actually Zhao Bie, who had not fought with Liu Shengyijian before. Zhao Bie did not leave, but returned to Longbei County. "Miss Zhao, you seem surprised to see me," Zhao Bie said, after seeing Zhao Xiaodi. "Leader Zhao left the city early this morning, but now he is in my daughter's house. Of course, I'm a little surprised," Zhao Xiaodi said. "I don't know how your business is going, Miss Zhao. Are you ready to leave Longbei County? I want to take Miss Zhao's carriage and leave with Miss Zhao," Zhao Bie said. All his people were in trouble, and on the way here, he got the information that Zhu Yiren killed the wine tyrant and showed the strength of Dunshan Huahei. From this point of view, coupled with the fact that when he confronted Liu Shengyijian, he sensed Liu Shengyijian's strength, and also in the Danshan Huahei realm. 2 Danshan Huahei realm powerhouses, or a master of swordsmanship with sharp skills. If he was besieged, he would not be able to leave Longbei County at all, so he returned to the county city. He wanted to use Zhao Xiaodi to leave Longbei County. There is no hatred between Paradise Palace And, Blue Dragon Society should not attack Zao Xiaodi. So it should be no problem for him to leave with the help of Zao Xiaodi. Alliance Master Zao, you are going to drag me down with you, Zao Xiaodi said softly. In her heart, she was thinking about how to deal with this matter. After seeing Liu Shengyijian's strength, she knew the horror of Blue Dragon Society. Once she got into trouble with Blue Dragon Society because of Zhao Bie, she might not be able to leave. How could it be? I just use your carriage to leave. I believe Miss Zhao, you will not refuse. I think you, Paradise Palace, also need the friendship of our World Alliance. Zhao Bie looked at Zhao Xiaodi and said, I will leave here tomorrow, and Alliance Master Zhao can come with me. Zhao Xiaodi said, after thinking for a moment after hearing this. Thank you, I will come to your house tomorrow. Zhao Bie turned around and left after speaking. He did not intend to stay with Zhao Xiaodi. Watching Zhao Bie leave, Zhao Xiaodi walked towards the hall, where a middle-aged woman in a blue skirt was. Send the news that Zhao Bie is in Longbei County to Liu Shengyijian of the Qinglang Society. Go through the secret room. I'm afraid Zhao Bie is outside the mansion, Zhao Xiaodi said in a voice transmission. She decided to sell Zhao Bie in exchange for the favor of the Qinglang Society. Sometimes, the more beautiful a woman is, the more cruel she is. Chapter 467, Dynamics of All Parties, Night Emperor, Return in the Future. Boom boom. At this moment, spring thunder appeared in the sky. Thunder appeared, and soon, rain fell in a gurgling sound. Zhao Xiaodi looked at the rain falling under the eaves, and her eyes moved slightly. I hope my decision this time is right, Zhao Xiaodi thought to herself. Outside the house, far away, in the courtyard, a woman in a blue skirt appeared, but she had changed into a very simple coat, just like a woman from a farmer's house going to the market, carrying a basket of vegetables, holding an oil paper umbrella in her hand, walking in the rain, and the direction was actually Liu Shengyijian, the courtyard where they were. From this point, it can be seen that this Paradise Palace has a certain number of members in Longbei County, or they have charmed some forces in Longbei County, and at this moment in the County Magistrate's mansion, County Magistrate Mo Feng and Mr. Fang looked very ugly at the moment. You mean, except for Zhao Bie who left, all the people from World Alliance are dead. Mo Feng looked at the housekeeper in front of him and asked again. My lord, the Grey Spear and the famous sword of World Alliance died under Liu Shengyijian's sword, and the Jiu Bei who left with the convoy died under Zhu Yiren's sword. The housekeeper in front of him was trembling as he spoke. The news he had inquired about completely shocked him. How is it possible that Liu Shengyijian and Zhu Yiren are so strong? The old man Mr. Fang asked uncertainly, but he was just asking so he wouldn't make a mistake. This old servant has confirmed it several times. The housekeeper replied. You go down first, and continue to pay attention to the movement outside. Mo Feng waved his hand. The housekeeper left in response. After the housekeeper left, Mo Feng looked at Mr. Fang beside him. Mr. Fang, Qinglang Hu is more terrible than we thought. It's a bit terrible. I will refine the gile powder as soon as possible, and try to control the leaders of the forces in Longbei County first. Mr. Fang said in a deep voice. This is the only way to do it. Control some people first, and then see if we can get close to Su Chen. Mo Feng said in a deep voice. I'll go and refine the bliss powder first. You collect more information about Su Chen, and see how to start. The old man surnamed Fang said. I will collect more information about Su Chen and the Qinglang Society, but with your strength, I'm afraid it's impossible in Longbei County. Mo Feng said with some concern. At any time, you still need confidence to do things. What is confidence? The strong are confidence. When I came, the adults said that they would send someone. I think that person will be here soon. Mr. Fang stood up and walked out. It seems that I still have to take down Zhao Xiaodi as soon as possible. The most important thing is to save your own life. Mo Feng murmured. Come here. Mo Feng whispered, and then a black shadow appeared in front of him. Where is Zhao Xiaodi now? I went out today and returned to the previous house in the evening. The man in black said. Is that so? It seems that tonight is my chance, but I have to transfer the woman in the blue skirt next to her first. Mo Feng murmured. Another place. In the Shan Gate, Su Chen was standing by the window of the 3-story building, watching the setting sun that was about to fall into the horizon. Tomorrow is the day when Zhuang Zuanji will give us an answer. Do you think Zhuang Zuanji will agree to our request? There is news from Lan Qingbi that Zhuang Zuanji is married to Huo Xingchen, the owner of the world's #1 manor. According to the regulations, Zhuang Zuanji should marry Huo Xingchen after 1 year. According to the news, there is no problem with the identity of the young master of the world's #1 manor and Zhuang Zuanji. Lan Qingbi has not found out why Zhuang Zuanji wants to kill Huo Xingchen. Yuan Suan said, maybe this is just an appearance. Since we can't find out, we won't check it. Let's wait for Zhuang Zuanji's answer. What's going on in Longbei County? Su Chen asked. Previously, there was news from Liu Shengyijian that Zhao Bai went to Longbei County for other purposes, but the purpose has not been found out yet. However, Lord Li, the 3rd Dragon Chief, has already gone to Longbei County to cooperate with Liu Shengyijian and others. No matter what the World Alliance is planning in Longbei County, they can't take anything away, Yuan Suan said. While he was talking, a flying bird flew into the house from the window and landed on Yuan Suan's shoulder. There is new news from Longbei County. Yuan Suan took out the bamboo slips from the bird's claws and checked it. Master, Zhu Yiren and Liu Shengyijian have already broken through to the Danshan Hua level. Thank you for your gift. In addition, not only Zhao Bai has come to the World Alliance, but also the 4 generals of the World Alliance, leader, the famous sword Ko Zhengyang, the grey spear Shi Muming, the tyrant sword Zeduo Fian, and the wine tyrant Nangang Jiu. These 4 have died under the swords of Zhu Yiren and Liu Shengyijian. Zhao Bai escaped and hid. Liu Shengyijian has asked the forces in Longbei County to find Zhao Bai. And the things that Zhao Bai came to Longbei County to take away should be on him. Yuan Suan said. This Zhao Bai is really face-saving, letting the 3 masters surround and kill him when the time comes. But we can't underestimate the World Alliance. If the things are important, they should have someone to come to pick up this Zhao Bai. Su Chen said. Master, there is someone outside the gate who claims to have a 3-day appointment with you and came to pay respect to you today. A disciple outside the gate reported. It seems that she has thought it through for the 3-day appointment. Suan, go and bring her here. Su Chen said. Yes. Yuan Suan pushed the door open and followed the disciples to leave. When he left, 2 figures flashed in from the window. Meetings, Master. The 2 figures were Yi Di and Rihao, who had rushed back from the capital. Thank you both. Su Chen thanked. Master, this is some information about the divine power of the sea concentration that we obtained from Zimeng. Yi Di took out the divine power information from his arms and handed it to Su Chen. Su Chen saw the divine power information in Yi Di's hand and his face showed joy. He took it and opened it to check. Obtained the introduction of the divine power of the sea concentration of the 9 difficulties of heaven and man, and was rewarded with 2 orange lottery cards. When Su Chen flipped through these materials, he received some rewards accordingly. I didn't expect that the Evil Alliance could actually gather so many divine forces. It seems that the Evil Alliance is probably more complicated than what we saw. But what is the reason for doing this? What they did has a great impact on the rule of Emperor Zhao. How could Emperor Zhao tolerate their existence? It's really strange. Su Chen said. From the information we got, the base camp of the Evil Alliance should be the capital. But the capital is the territory of Emperor Zhao, the core area of the great Zhao dynasty. With the strength of Emperor Zhao, it should not be difficult to destroy the Evil Alliance. Is Emperor Zhao really in seclusion as rumored by the outside world? Su Chen was a little confused. My lord, we have some insights this time and want to be in seclusion for a while. At this time, Emperor Yi said, the area behind the mountain is the forbidden area of Shanmen. Dingpeng and others are also in seclusion there. You can go there. Su Chen said. My lord, then we will take our leave first. Emperor Yindra bowed slightly, and their figures flashed, jumping out of the window grills and heading towards the back mountain. Chapter 468, Lonely Swordsman, Fu Hongxue, thinner silk, golden silk clothes. It seems that the capital is the center of the storm. Su Chen thought to himself as he watched the two people leave. Then he looked at the two orange lottery cards he had just received. His eyes moved slightly, and he wondered whether to draw them. While he was thinking, footsteps were heard outside the door. Yuan Suan appeared at the door with a woman wearing a white hat and a veil. "Master, I have brought the person here." Yuan Suan stopped and said, "Come in." Su Chen nodded, and Yuan Suan opened the door and took Zhuang Zhuangji into the room. After entering the room, Zhuang Zhuangji took off the hat and put it aside and took off the veil in front of her, revealing her beautiful face. Seeing the other party take off the veil, Su Chen's eyes lit up slightly. This Zhuang Zhuangji is really beautiful, very beautiful, with clear eyes, and incomparable. Long hair, eyebrows and eyes are like paintings, and she is dressed in white. The white clothes set off the exposed skin, giving a feeling of skin whiter than snow. The slender jade hand holding the veil is like a crystal clear coral. Peerless beauty, I guess that's how you describe the girl. Please take a seat, Su Chen said admiringly. Everyone likes to appreciate beautiful things, and Su Chen is no exception. Thank you, Master Su. The voice was soft and a little cold. At this time, Yuan Suan poured a cup of tea for Zhuang Zhuangji. This is the tea picked from a century-old tea tree in the back mountain of Arshan Gate. Miss Zhuang, please taste it. Su Chen waved his hand. While Su Chen was speaking, his heart moved slightly. When you encounter beautiful things, you are usually lucky. Su Chen wanted to see if this was the case for him. He directly drew the two orange lottery cards he had just received. Get one Fu Hongxue character card and a set of golden silkworm clothes. Seeing this news, Su Chen was shocked. He didn't expect to be able to draw a character card this time. Fu Hongxue is a character in Shan Yaming Yudao. He has no father or mother. He is an orphan adopted by Hua Beifeng to avenge Bei Xianyu. He was born for revenge. His whole life was to take Ma Kangwen's head. He was aloof, cold, and taciturn. He was a very outstanding tragic hero. Of course, his martial arts were equally shocking. He was cold and arrogant when he drew his sword. Although he was disabled, no one could be faster than his sword. I don't know what realm Fu Hongxue's strength is at. Su Chen thought to himself. He immediately checked it out. Fu Hongxue's information, like Yi Di and the others, had a note of breaking the void behind it. His own strength was close to the concentration of the sea. I'm almost there, but I'm just one step behind Gu Santong and the others. Su Chen was still very satisfied with this information. Then he checked the golden silkworm clothes. It was a piece of clothing woven with silk from the golden silkworm. The silkworm itself was like thin silk, but it could prevent swords and hidden weapons. It was a treasured clothing with excellent defensive power. What good luck. When Su Chen was thinking, Zhuang Zhuangji had been paying attention to Su Chen. When she saw the other party praising her, she didn't say anything. Her eyes didn't pay attention to her. She couldn't help but be startled in her beautiful eyes, and she couldn't help but look at Su Chen. Although the other party praised her beauty, she was not obsessed with it. Such a person's character was very firm. I have discussed with my father and I'm willing to transfer all the money houses in Lingjiang area to King Langhu. However, I hope that this matter can be transferred from the dark. We don't want people to know. Zhuang Zhuangji said. Okay. For us, we only need benefits. Su Chen nodded. But Master Su, Lingjiang area is the territory of Xiangxiameng. We will pay a considerable fee to Xiangxiameng every year. This fee will need you to bear after you take over. Zhuang Zhuangji looked at Su Chen and said, this should be paid by us. But let's trade 10 companies first. You can run these 10 companies and you can arrange the salaries of the employees. We only want the final benefits. After all, my King Langhu may have conflicts with Xiangxiameng recently. Su Chen said. 4 people from Xiangxiameng died in Longbei County at once, and Zhao Bai might not be able to leave Longbei County, so the battle between the two sides might start. What's more, Su Chen also wants to expand towards the Lingjiang area, so the world alliance is an obstacle. A war between the two sides will break out. However, based on the information he has seen so far, the strength of the world alliance is stronger than he imagined. Perhaps, with the change of the times, there are many new generations of people in the world alliance, but some people cannot show up because some people have occupied their positions in the front. Hearing Su Chen's words, Zhuang's expression moved slightly. Before coming, she also got the news and knew some of the situation in Longbei County. That's no problem. Zhuang nodded. Miss Zhuang wants to kill Huo Xingchen, and she should have his information on her. I wonder if you can give us a copy. Su Chen didn't want anyone to go to the JB area to investigate, so he asked. Zhuang wanted to kill someone, so the information should be very complete. Hearing Su Chen's words, Zhuang's beautiful eyes flashed slightly, and she took out a piece of information from her bosom and put it on the table and said, "This is the details of Huo Xingchen's daily life, as well as the martial arts he practiced. Of course, as the young master of the world's #1 village, Huo Jiazhuang, he may hide some things. This requires your association to master it personally, but the information I gave you is for reference only and needs to be verified by your association." Zhuang said. There was no tone in her voice that the information she gave was very accurate. "Thank you, Miss Zhuang. We will verify this information ourselves." Su Chen nodded, and Yuan Suan beside him collected the information. "Master Su, I hope that when the Qinglang Club takes action, it would be best to send out a master who is not known by everyone, so that it can delay the Huo Jiazhuang from finding out the killer I hired." Zhuang said. "Don't worry, Miss Zhuang, I will make arrangements," Su Chen said. He happened to draw Fu Hongxue, and Fu Hongxue came forward to kill Huo Xingchen. No one would think that it was the Qinglang Society who did it. Some strengths do not need to let the other party know who they are when killing. "Thank you very much, Master Su. I hope Master Su will complete this assassination as soon as possible," Zhuang said. "Don't worry, Miss Zhuang, give us a month. We will kill Huo Xingchen," Su Chen said. Huo Xingchen's strength is quite good, but in front of the Qinglang Society bosses, there is really no need to care. "Okay. These are the deeds of the 10 money houses in the Lingjiang area. I have brought them here." After saying that, Zhuang took out 10 deeds from his arms and put them on the table. Yuan Suan stepped forward to check, nodded to Su Chen, and put the deeds away. "Then I will wait for Master Su's information. This month, I will go to the Lingjiang area. Master Su can arrange people to secretly hand over the money house business to me," Zhuang said. "I will arrange for a new face to meet Miss Zhuang as soon as possible. General Manager Yuan, you send Miss Zhuang back first," Su Chen said. Hearing Su Chen's words, Zhuang's beautiful eyes were slightly stunned. She didn't expect Su Chen to drive her away like this. Chapter 469. Fu Hongxue leaves for Jiangbi and returns to the sea to enter the pass. This was totally different from what she expected. She looked at Su Chen with a look of surprise, but Su Chen did not show any expression. Zhuang looked good, but she hired a killer to kill her fiancé. Such a woman, no matter what, was not an ordinary woman. Su Chen did not want to have too much contact with her for the time being. Moreover, the fact that she took off her veil to see him today had the intention of seducing him. Zhuang looked a little lonely and followed Yuan Suan away. After a while, Yuan Suan returned. "Master, this Zhuang's face can be said to be peerless and worthy of being the master," Yuan Suan said. Yuan Suan had always been by Su Chen's side, and they were of similar age. Yuan Suan could be said to regard Su Chen as his reincarnation. In his previous life, he was called the Bad Prince. Because he was blind, he developed ambitions in the dark. Now he still has this ambition, which is to help Su Chen become the master of the great Zhao dynasty. The Zhao emperor was able to control the mountains and rivers with martial arts. They can also help Su Chen become the master of a dynasty. As for Xianmen, what is behind Xianmen, Yuan Suan is not sure, and he dare not make big claims. Zhuang is beautiful, but she is a bit cruel to attack Huo Xingchen, no matter what the reason is, Su Chen said. Master, who should we send to kill Huo Xingchen? Should we notify Kyo gang leader and Jiangnan? Yuan Suan said. No, send someone else this time. While Su Chen was talking, a figure appeared in the house. A man in black appeared in the house. His face was pale, holding a black knife tightly in his hand. His eyes were bright, and when he saw Su Chen, he moved his feet. His feet were a little lame, but it did not affect his speed. Meet the master. Fu Hongxue said. His voice was a little cold and lonely. In his previous life, he was a revenger, but his revenge was not his own, but was just for others. In this life, he was given a mission, which was to be loyal to the person in front of him. Fu Hongxue, this world is different. You actually came to this world, so your new life is about to begin. This is a complicated martial arts world. Suan, Fu Hongxue came to your own world, and is considered a figure of the later era. He is stronger than you. In your world, he has a resounding name, the undefeated sword god. Take him to understand the situation in this world first. Su Chen said. Yes, please. Yuan Suan politely took Fu Hongxue away and told Fu Hongxue all the situation in this world. Fu Hongxue has never shown up in this world. He went to Jiangbi and killed Huo Xingchen. No one knew that he came from the Qinglong society. This is in line with Zhuang Zuanji's requirements. Satisfying the requirements of customers is what they, Qinglong Hu, have to do. In this way, the business of Qinglong Hu can last for a long time. One day later, Fu Hongxue left Shanmen. Except for Su Chen and Yuan Suan, no one in Shanmen had seen Fu Hongxue, and they didn't know he appeared or left. In Lingnan County, Zhuang Zuanji and her two maids were in an ordinary courtyard. Miss, do you think that Qinglong Hu will just take the money and not do the work? Said a maid. Su Chen is not simple. Judging from his attitude and momentum, there will be no problem. Qinglong Hu is different from other killer forces. Other killer forces are afraid of the reputation of no one Zhuang in the world, and we dare not show our true colors to contact the other party, so no one dares to make a move. Qinglong Hu does not exist, so I showed up to trade with Su Chen, but I don't know who they will send to make a move. Zhuang Zuanji said. By the way, has there been any news from Longbei County? Zhuang Zuanji asked afterwards. Miss, the news has come that the four masters of the famous swords of the World Alliance, Tyrant Sword, Wine Tyrant, and Grey Spear, all died in Longbei County. The ones who attacked were Zhu Yiren and Liu Shengyijian. The strength of these two people is not what the outside world says. They have just entered the 9 difficulties of heaven and man. They are strong men in the Danshan Huahei realm. It is said that Zhao Bai of the World Alliance did not fight with Liu Shengyijian and fled away directly. This happened a day ago. We probably won't hear about today's things until tomorrow. Another maid said. This is completely unexpected. The strongest one who showed strength before was the 3 dragon heads Li Chenzhao. I didn't expect that there were 2 people hiding in secret. Zhuang Zuanji's beautiful eyes moved slightly. She now believed Su Chen's words more in her heart. Huo Xingchen was doomed this time. We will also set off to the Lingjiang area and wait for Master Su to get rid of Huo Xingchen. Zhuang Zuanji said in a deep voice. For the sake of our family's wealth, he actually secretly gave my father a chronic poison. If it weren't for Marston and Heisheni coming to visit her and seeing that my father was poisoned, my father and I would have been kept in the dark by him. When talking about Huo Xingchen, Zhuang Zuanji's eyebrows revealed murderous intent and hatred. She and Huo Xingchen were previously known as a legend in the martial arts world. Huo Xingchen was a gentleman and the young master of the first manner in the martial arts world. She, Zhuang Zuanji, was the future owner of the 3rd bank in the world, and was even known as the 3rd most beautiful woman in the world. To outsiders, they were a perfect match. Before she found out, she also thought so. But she didn't expect Huo Xingchen's heart to be so cruel. This is why Zhuang Zuanji had to kill Huo Xingchen. Okay. The maid immediately arranged a carriage and left with Zhuang Zuanji. The news of their departure was quickly known to Su Chen. Keep an eye on this Zhuang Zuanji. Don't let anything happen. Otherwise, after we kill Huo Xingchen, we won't be able to get the remaining 20 banks. Su Chen ordered Yuan Suan. Now that his shop is a bit big, He needs a lot of silver. He is very concerned about money. My lord, do you want to ask Pavilion Master ZHU to send some people over? After all, there is nothing going on at the Chen sect for the time being. Yuan Suan suggested. Has the Kunlun sect been found? Su Chen asked. Before the Chen sect, it was the Kunlun sect that controlled the outskirts of the Great Wall. Later, because of the Chen sect, the Kunlun sect closed its mountains. But now the Chen sect is occupied by the East Pavilion of the Cheyenne Pavilion. If the Kunlun sect appears, there should be some movement. For the time being, there is no movement from the Kunlun sect. Then let Gui Heideo return from the outskirts of the Great Wall first, and let him keep an eye on Zhuangzi. Su Chen said. Gui Heideo's realm is at the level of the 9 difficulties of heaven and man, but his swordsmanship is extremely domineering, especially the 3 swords of the Abyssy path are extremely powerful. There is no problem at all in temporarily monitoring Zhuangzi. Chapter 473 Master sends Zhao Bai on his way. In the imperial palace of the capital, it was quiet and dark in a hall. A man in black knelt before Emperor Zhao, who stood with a rather gloomy face. Huo Mufeng of Chen sect was killed, and the one who did it was the East Pavilion of Cheyenne Pavilion. I didn't expect that Cheyenne Pavilion would ruin my plan. Emperor Zhao said in a deep voice. What are they doing to occupy Chen sect? Emperor Zhao asked. They are looking for traces of Kunlun sect. According to the investigation and analysis of my subordinates, they may want to destroy Kunlun sect as well, so as to control the entire area outside the Great Wall. The man in black replied. What a big ambition. You can go down. Emperor Zhao waved his hand. The man in black bowed and left the hall. What do you think of this, Cheyenne Pavilion? Emperor Zhao turned and spoke to Zhu Pingsheng, who was standing aside. This Cheyenne Pavilion now has the East Pavilion and the North Pavilion. The combat power displayed by the East Pavilion is higher than that of the North Pavilion. It may be due to the different division of labor, but this also reflects their ambition. This force is not within our monitoring range, so I think it should be suppressed. Zhu Pingsheng said. It seems that you have a way to suppress it. Tell me. Emperor Zhao has been with Zhu Pingsheng for a long time, and knows that Zhu Pingsheng must have thought of something when he said this. Aren't they looking for Kunlun sect? Then let Kunlun sect come out and test this. Cheyenne Pavilion, East Pavilion. I can have someone secretly in Kunlun sect to plot against Hideo Sheng, one of the 3 elders of Kunlun sect, in the name of Cheyenne Pavilion. Zhu Pingsheng said in a flat tone. Just do it this way. There can be no peace outside the Great Wall. There must be a fight. But I'm a little curious. Huo Mufeng had the poisonous insect planted on him. Now Huo Mufeng is dead. What do you think the reaction of the one far above Xianmen is? Emperor Zhao said. From his words, Emperor Zhao knew the existence of the people behind Huo Mufeng. It won't affect us for now. Even if she sends people down, it will take time. This is a natural barrier that prevents us from entering and also prevents them from coming. Zhu Pingsheng shook his head. Your Majesty, I have also received news that the plan of the Evil Alliance in Jiangnan has also been destroyed, and a force called the Beggars Gang has emerged. The leader of the Beggars Gang is called Cao Feng. According to the information I have received, his strength may reach the level of the Sea of Concentration. When talking about the Beggars Gang, Zhu Pingsheng frowned slightly. The expansion of Cheyenne Pavilion has its limitations no matter what. But this Beggars Gang is a little different. They gather beggars. Now that Emperor Zhao is doing something, there will inevitably be many fluctuations in the Great Zhao dynasty. As long as there are fluctuations, beggars will continue to appear. If all these beggars join this Beggars Gang, then the number of people in this Beggars Gang will be terrifying. Such a force may threaten Emperor Zhao and the Great Zhao dynasty. Beggar sect? I didn't expect someone would take advantage of this. Find a way to infiltrate the Beggars sect and see what they want to do. Emperor Zhao narrowed his eyes. Emperor Zhao is a very domineering person. Now he wants to stir up trouble, but it must be within the scope he allows. Cheyenne Pavilion is only one force, fighting against the forces of the underworld. This is allowed by him, but the Beggars sect is not, so he needs to know what the other party wants. I have arranged personnel to lurk and investigate, but the beggars sect killed the people of the Lai family. I think the Lai family should deal with them. Zhu Pingsheng said. The Lai family, the mother's family of the 7th brother, they control 36 foreign tribes in Jiangnan. It should not be difficult to deal with this beggars sect. The murderous intent in Emperor Zhao's eyes was revealed. Your Majesty, I have already followed your plan and tried to transfer General Wang back to the capital. I don't know how your Majesty will place him next, Zhu Pingsheng said. After so many years in the South China Sea, he has become so arrogant that he doesn't take my royal family seriously. Find a way to poison him and seriously injure him and keep him alive for now. In this way, there should be chaos in the South China Sea for a while, weakening his power in the South China Sea. Emperor Zhao said, I will make arrangements. But the martial arts of the great General Wang are not simple, and it may be difficult to keep him from being poisoned. Old man Jiudu has recently developed a kind of colorless and tasteless poison that can affect the power of warriors. You can take my order and go there to get some. Emperor Zhao said. I understand. Zhu Pingsheng bowed. What do you think of the people from the Zen Wu Taoist temple who came to the capital this time? The Zen Wu Taoist temple is very self-respecting and does not want to get involved in the affairs of the royal family, but this time it sent people to the capital. I think they want to support a certain prince this time. And they should have a target. Zhu Pingsheng replied. I didn't expect that one of my sons could have a connection with the Zen Wu Taoist temple. Do you know who it is? I haven't found out yet, but it shouldn't be the 9 ruling princes. Your Majesty's descendants are all outstanding, so it's normal for people from the Zen Wu Taoist temple to look like him. Zhu Pingsheng said. I like what you said very much. Let's go. Eunuch Tao just dug out my treasured wine recently. Let's have a good drink. Emperor Zhao said with a smile. The two left from the dark side of the palace. The whole palace returned to silence. Longboi County. A large carriage left from the east city. In the carriage, Zhao Xiaodi sat upright in it, and in the carriage, Zhao Bai sat on one side. The woman in the blue skirt was next to Zhao Xiaodi. Thank you Miss Zhao this time. Zhao Bai said in the carriage. We are leaving at the right time. Alliance leader Zhao doesn't need to thank us. Zhao Xiaodi said softly. No matter what, I still have to thank Miss Zhao. I will toast Miss Zhao with tea instead of wine. Zhao Bai raised the teacup in his hand and said. Just when he picked up the teacup, his expression was slightly startled. Their carriage stopped at this time, and a group of people in black appeared in front of the carriage. Zhao Bai frowned slightly. The strength of the people who intercepted their carriage was a little low. Zhao Xiaodi also frowned and prepared to lift the curtain to investigate. Miss Zhao, the county magistrate wants to see you off, so please wait here for a while, said the leader. Hearing this, Zhao Bai was slightly stunned. He didn't expect that the person who came was for Zhao Xiaodi, and he was the new county magistrate. He looked at Zhao Xiaodi. At this moment, a frost appeared in Zhao Xiaodi's beautiful eyes. County Magistrate Mo Feng stopped her when she was leaving the city. The idea is self-evident. I didn't expect Miss Zhao to be targeted by County Magistrate Mo. The new County Magistrate of Longboi County is a little unusual. Zhao Bai said. He had no intention of taking action. The people in the carriage could deal with the people outside without him taking action. But he didn't know why he had a bad premonition in his heart. In the dark, 3 figures were looking at a group of people in black who appeared in front of the carriage. These 3 people were Zhu Yaran, Li Chenzhao, and Liu Shengyijian. They were here to see Zhao Bai off. The people from the county governor's mansion stopped Zhao Xiaodi here and wanted to see her off. What does the county governor have in mind? Li Chenzhao, one of the 3, asked. I'm not sure about this. But I don't know what Zhao Bai in the carriage will think, Zhu Yaran said softly. Chapter 471 Zhao Bai's Purpose, Liu Shengyijian's Sword. Please subscribe. He probably has a premonition of something bad happening. Li Chenzhao said in a deep voice. 3 masters surrounded and killed Zhao Bai. It was unknown whether it was Zhao Bai's luck or sadness. Zhao Bai has been hiding for a day. Someone from the World Alliance should come to pick him up. Liu Shengyijian, who was standing aside, said. The three of them all appeared because they wanted to prevent other masters from the World Alliance from coming. Otherwise, Xiaobi was not worth the three of them to attack together. The atmosphere in front of the carriage was a little quiet. The coachman who was driving the carriage looked at the black-clothed man blocking them nervously. It was obvious that they had bad intentions. In this quiet atmosphere, a blue figure flew out of the carriage and slapped the black-clothed man in the lead with his palm at a very fast speed. Before the black-clothed man could react, he was slapped by the other party. With a bang, the whole person flew backwards, spitting blood in the air, and crashed on the ground. His eyes were surprised, and he was out of breath. As for the other black-clothed men, the blue-shirted woman's hand had several black lights, swishing. A long black needle appeared between everyone's eyebrows, piercing through their eyebrows, standing in the same place, and then fell to the ground. Whoosh! The blue-skirted woman returned to the carriage. "Keep going." The blue-skirted woman's voice sounded in the driver's ears. What a sharp method. In the dark, Chen looked at the blue-skirted woman who made the move and said, "I'll go and see the strength of this Xiaobi." Liu Shengyijian said, and when he spoke, his figure was like a ghost, heading in the direction of the carriage. At this time, the sky became dark and gloomy, and a wisp of drizzle formed in the sky. In the drizzle, the coachman put on a straw raincoat and a bamboo hat, and continued to move forward. The speed was neither fast nor slow. In the carriage, Xiaobi, looking at the drizzle outside the window, frowned slightly. The drizzle sends people home, and I don't know if I can get out of this Longbei County, Xiaobi said. As he spoke, he slapped the carriage away with his palm, kicked his foot, and rushed into the rain. Inside the carriage, Xiaobi and the woman in blue skirt looked at the carriage that was split in half with a dull look on their faces. Xiaobi picked up the oil paper umbrella in the carriage and held it up to block the drizzle. The woman in blue skirt beside her also held up the oil paper umbrella and watched Xiaobi leave. "Do you think he found something?" the woman in blue skirt said. "If he found it, he should kill us first. With his strength, we can't stop him from killing us." Xiaobi said. "Don't worry, my dear lady. When I leaked the news, the people from the Qinglang Society promised to save our lives. He didn't do it. He must have sensed something," the woman in blue skirt said softly. "In that case, let's go and see. You go back first. You don't have to send us off." A piece of broken silver appeared in Xiaobi's hand and flew into the hands of the coachman. The coachman took the broken silver and drove away in the broken carriage. Xiaobi went to the direction where Xiaobi had left. In the drizzle, Xiaobi stopped at one place, looking at Liu Shengyi, who was wearing black clothes and had two long swords on his waist, as if he had been waiting for him here for a long time. The drizzle fell and was automatically bounced off by his body protecting ki, without touching his body at all. Liu Shengyi had a deep face, as sharp as a knife, and a pair of eyes as quiet as a deep pool, which made people feel very cold. "Liu Shengyi, I didn't expect you to deal with me." Xiaobi looked at Liu Shengyi calmly. "Does the leader Xiao want to wait for others to come?" Liu Shengyi looked at Xiaobi, and actually he had a doubt in his heart. That is, what kind of person is Xiaobi? He shouldn't use Xiaobi as a cover to leave. After all, there are many ways for such a strong man to leave. Especially leaving alone will be more concealed. Even if they mobilized all the forces in Longbei County, they might not be able to find the trace of a strong man like Xiaobi. "I'm waiting for your third dragon leader Li Chenzhao." Xiaobi looked at Liu Shengyi and said with a sword. This time, the four masters under the leader died tragically. If he goes back like this, then with the leader's character, even if he doesn't die, he will probably lose power in the World Alliance. The World Alliance is actually different from other forces. Power is absolutely concentrated. The leader of the World Alliance is the Emperor of the World Alliance. His words can determine the life and death of people in the World Alliance. It can determine the fate of people in the World Alliance. That's why he did it. He didn't want to lose everything after he went back, so he wanted to take a gamble. A head-on confrontation with the Qinglang Society. Boom. Just as Xiaobi's voice fell, a figure rushed out from the dark. This figure was a bit burly, wearing a grey robe, with an indifferent look, pointing at a black stick in his hand. The stick was very thick and faintly exuded a chill. A burly man appeared and stepped on the ground directly. Soon after the drizzle began, the ground began to get wet, and a huge deep pit was stepped out by his foot. However, his body suddenly came towards Liu Shengyijian, and the whole person was like a cannonball. Zhao Bai was the second leader of the Xiangxia League. Naturally, he had his own confidants. The person who made the move was one of them. Although his strength had just entered the 9 difficulties of heaven and man, he practiced hard skills. Ordinary attacks could not break through his defense at all. Liu Shengyijian's strength may have reached the level of Danshan Transformation C. But he felt that Liu Shengyijian should have just entered. Many people could not find the opportunity to transform Danshan into C after entering the 9 difficulties of heaven and man. But some people are different. After they enter the 9 difficulties of heaven and man, it is easy for them to find their own martial arts realm and step into the level of Danshan Transformation C. He believed that Liu Shengyijian and Zhu Yiren were such people. Otherwise, the two could not be the dragon heads of King Blanhu. After all, Yan Nanshan and the magic knife Ding Peng who appeared earlier were not as strong as Liu Shengyijian and Zhu Yiren. As for why he believed so, because he, Zhao Bai, is such a person. Green Dragon Stick Shadow. At this time, the burly man who made the move shouted, and a huge energy appeared in the iron stick in his hand. The energy formed a green dragon shadow in the long stick. The dragon shadow enveloped Liu Shengyijian, and he wanted to kill Liu Shengyijian with one stick. However, his stick shadow was fast, and Liu Shengyijian was also fast. Under his stick shadow, Liu Shengyijian's figure seemed to teleport, and when the opponent's stick shadow fell, he appeared in front of the opponent. The burly man who made the move was startled and wanted to turn the long stick in his hand back, but Liu Shengyijian drew his sword. The sword flashed, and a grey sword energy whistled out. The burly man retreated rapidly, and a black energy appeared around him. These energies circulated around him, and his body was like iron. But the grey sword energy was like cutting vegetables, tearing through the opponent's defense, and penetrating his body. The burly man who made the move looked at his chest in disbelief. Why did he dare to make the move? He believed that his defense could definitely block Liu Shengyijian's sword. But he thought differently. Liu Shengyijian's sword was too sharp, and his defense was vulnerable. So the burly man died on the spot. Zhao Bai, who was watching not far away, suddenly narrowed his eyes. He did not expect that his men could not block the opponent's sword. Alliance Master Zhao, it's your turn next. Liu Shengyijian's body came towards Zhao Bai. Chapter 472, Sword Broken, Chess 1 move short, Li Chen's how, I really want to see whose punch is stronger. Hearing Liu Shengyijian's words, Zhao Bai's expression became very gloomy. Liu Shengyijian, your sword is indeed very domineering, but you don't think you can underestimate me, Zhao Bai. My target is Li Chen's how. It is said that your 3 dragon heads have gathered divine power. I really want to see his strength. Zhao Bai looked at Liu Shengyijian and said, defeat me, or kill me, and you can fight with the 3 dragon heads. Liu Shengyijian's tone was very calm. When Zhao Bai just killed the burly man, a wave appeared on his body. The wave was very strong. Really? Then kill you first. While Zhao Bai was talking, he took out a black glove from his arms. The glove was as thin as silk, but at this time, Zhao Bai took it out, which showed that the glove was not ordinary. There are very few people in the world who have seen me take action, or those who have seen me take action are dead, so you know very little about my information. Before I, Zhao Bai, became the second leader of Xiangxia League, I had a name, Green Evil Demon, Zhao Bai said in a deep voice. As he spoke, his ki flowed, and the black gloves were filled with a strange and fierce aura. Under the flow of ki, the ordinary gloves had a black pattern, which gradually became hideous, and the fingers flashed with black luster. The fierce aura, coupled with the sharp feeling, formed a wave in the surrounding air. Some insects that appeared in the rain left the area at a very fast speed when this wave appeared. Across from him, Liu Shengyijian, an indescribable sense of sharpness appeared in his heart, and he looked at Zhao Bai with a serious look. The ki in his body surged, and his own cultivation burst out. Boom. When his ki surged, the other party's figure instantly swept towards him, at a very fast speed, like lightning. Sharp claws, 5 black ki, turned into sharp blades, and went towards Liu Shengyijian. At the moment when these 5 ki appeared, Liu Shengyijian, the sword light in his hand suddenly tore through the drizzle, and set off a violent sword light storm, going towards the 5 ki. The next moment, the two energies collided, creating a roaring sound. The 5 sword energies were drowned by the sword light. However, in the sword light, a dark palm ignored the sword light, and penetrated the sword light, to attack Liu Shengyijian. Liu Shengyijian's face condensed. The long sword in his hand returned instantly, and collided with the dark big hand. There was a sound of metal collision. After the fire, the two figures separated. Your sword energy can't break my hand armor. You have no chance of winning in front of me. Xiao Bi stared at Liu Shengyijian fiercely. Liu Shengyijian looked solemn at this moment. The long sword couldn't cut the opponent's gloves. Invisibly, he was at a disadvantage. Kill. The next moment, Liu Shengyijian moved, and the sword intent was all over his body. The long sword in his hand turned into a ray of light. In front of Xiao Bi, it instantly exploded and split into countless sword shadows. It enveloped Xiao Bi and attacked his vital points all over his body. Shadow Phantom Hand. The sword light of Liu Shengyijian dispersed, and the opponent's palm also dispersed into several hand shadows, blocking the sword light of Liu Shengyijian. This Xiao Bi's skills are amazing. I'm afraid Liu Shengyijian alone can't take down the opponent. Zhu Yiren in the dark said in a deep voice, while watching the battle in front of him. His gloves are not simple, but this Xiao Bi hasn't used all his strength yet. Liu Shengyijian hasn't used his strongest sword move yet. Let's wait a little longer. Li Chen's Hao said. Although Xiao Bi and Liu Shengyijian fought fiercely, but Xiao Bi had some strength left, waiting for someone on his side to take action, perhaps waiting for Zhu Yiren. It's interesting. I really want to know the confidence of this Xiao Bi. Li Chen's Hao murmured. On the other side, Xiao Xiaodi and the woman in blue skirt, holding an oil paper umbrella, looked at the battle in the distance, and surprise appeared between their brows. Xiao Bi suppresses Liu Shengyijian. The woman in blue skirt looked at the scene in front of her, and said in a deep voice, I wonder if another swordsman from the Qinglang Society will take action? Xiao Xiaodi whispered beside her. Liu Shengyijian. Zhu Yiren is a swordsman from the Qinglang Society who appeared in Longbei County. Now Liu Shengyijian is at the bottom. Logically, Zhu Yiren will help Liu Shengyijian. If two swordsmanship masters attack Xiao Bi at the same time, Xiao Bi will not be able to stop them. She saw the burly man appear earlier. She guessed that Xiao Bi should want to use the big man to contain one of them and take care of the other one by himself. Ding 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 ding. The battle was fierce, and Xiao Bi stretched out his palm and collided with the sharp sword light of Liu Shengyijian. The bright fire and ki that erupted at the moment of collision shook the air, forming a ki screen around them, and all the continuous drizzle was driven away. The battle between the two was in a white hot stage. The ground cracked, and deep ki pits appeared. A violent storm formed around them, and no one could get close. Liu Shengyi's swordsmanship was fierce, and every move revealed the power of killing, but Xiao Bi's palms moved quickly, and his body movements were also very sharp. Liu Shengyi's sword light could not hurt the opponent at all. After a few moves, both sides retreated. Liu Shengyi, show the move that killed Hui Kaiang. Xiao Bi looked at Liu Shengyi and said, in the previous fight, he had already figured out the power of Liu Shengyi's swordsmanship. He now wanted to see the scene when Hui Kaiang was killed by the opponent's sword. After he left, he returned later and checked the scars on Hui Kaiang's body. That sword was domineering and sharp. Liu Shengyi had confronted him for so long and had never used it. When he made his move, Liu Shengyi held the sword with both hands, and the aura around him condensed. The spirit and energy in his body poured into the long sword. Heartless and destructive he stepped on the ground, his body soared into the air and slashed with the sword. The continuous drizzle between heaven and earth seemed to stop instantly. At this moment, only a sword light appeared between heaven and earth. An extreme sense of danger rose in Xiaobi's mind. He clenched his palm into a fist. Demon slashing fist. Xiaobi shouted in a low voice. His eyes became fierce. A black energy appeared on his fist. The energy was fierce, forming a violent storm, colliding with the sword light. Boom, boom, boom. There was a burst of explosions, and the two figures staggered, and a sword mark appeared on Xiaobi's boxing gloves, but the gloves were not completely cut off. He looked at Liu Shengai not far away. At this time, the long sword in Liu Shengai's hand had been broken, and there was a trace of loneliness in his eyes. He lost the previous slash. Yajiu Yijian was defeated. His sword was broken. Seeing this scene, Xiaodi, who was watching the battle, was stunned. A sword master, his sword was broken, so there was no need to talk about this battle. I really didn't expect Xiaobi to be so strong that he could shatter Liu Shengyijian's sword. I'll meet him and see how he has the confidence to fight me. Li Chenhao said at this moment, and the moment he spoke, he stepped out. Zhu Yiren followed behind Li Chenhao, and at this time, there was no need to hide anymore. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473, Unrivaled in Fist Power, Subscription Request. Li Chenhao stepped out. A force appeared between heaven and earth. When this force appeared, the drizzle in the world was instantly evaporated and dissipated. Sensing this force, Xiaobi, who was about to attack Liu Shengyijian, showed a look of horror. He looked in the direction of Li Chenhao. A shocking force. Xiaodi and the woman in the blue skirt sensed this force, and their heartbeats seemed to stop instantly. They looked at Li Chenhao. Dressed in white, he stepped forward. Just now you said you wanted to fight with me, and now I will do as you wish. Li Chenhao looked at Xiaobi with a calm expression. The opponent's boxing gloves were not ordinary, and they could block Liu Shengyijian's sword. The fight also broke Liu Shengyijian's long sword. Xiaobi's strength was above Liu Shengyijian, and his strength was extraordinary. Seeing Li Chenhao appear, Xiaobi's expression condensed. He had previously thought of taking the opportunity to kill Liu Shengyijian. The sword was broken, and Liu Shengyijian's momentum would not recover in a short time. It was time to kill Liu Sheng with a sword. However, Li Chenhao showed up, and displayed a monstrous momentum, as soon as he came up, completely suppressing him, and not giving him a chance to attack. Boom. With every step Li Chenhao took, his momentum increased by 1 point. The strong momentum pressed the surrounding air. Not far away, Xiaodi felt that her breathing became difficult. Let's retreat. Xiaodi and the blue-skirted woman couldn't help but retreat dozens of steps behind them before they could no longer feel the pressure. They looked at Li Chenhao with horror. How can this Li Chenhao be so strong? When Li Chenhao just appeared in the Battle of Qinglang Temple, although he was called the Three Dragon Heads, the momentum he showed was not very strong, and many people did not take Li Chenhao too seriously. But when Li Chenhao attacked for the second time, he showed a momentum that shocked people. However, they did not experience it personally, so they could not personally feel Li Chenhao's momentum, and their understanding was a little distorted. But today, they truly felt Li Chenhao's momentum. Only then did he realize how strong and terrifying Li Chenhao's momentum was. Xiaobi's expression was solemn, and all his energy and spirit were focused on him, staring at Li Chenhao closely. He was surprised by Li Chenhao's momentum. Domineering and strong, he felt like he was facing the leader of the World Alliance. You look a lot like the leader. I really want to see your fist. Xiaobi looked into Li Chenhao's eyes, and a fighting spirit rose. See my fist. To show my respect for you, I will do my best to block a punch and not die. You can leave here. Li Chenhao looked at Xiaobi and said, boom. As he spoke, a powerful fist shadow appeared behind him. The fist shadow was domineering and unparalleled, and when it appeared, the world was silent and dark as the middle of the night. At this moment, everyone saw only the fist shadow, and Li Chenzhao, under the background of the fist shadow, exuded a domineering aura. Raise your hand, punch out. The fist shadow blasts out, covering Zhao Bie. Zhao Bie's aura swells. When Li Chenzhao appears, he knows he can't leave. Although he said he really wants to see Li Chenzhao's fist, he really doesn't want to see Li Chenzhao in his heart. If only Zhu Yiren appears, he can leave. Zhu Yiren can't stop him. As for Liu Shengyijian, he has been defeated, and the fighting spirit on his body has temporarily disappeared. There is no big threat, so he can leave, but Li Chenzhao came to show up. Judging from the momentum shown, this Li Chenzhao has definitely reached the level of concentration in the sea. He has his own momentum. Li Chenzhao has shown a domineering fist intent since he appeared, and such a fist intent cannot be stopped by himself. Sometimes he can resist the sharp sword intent, but he may not be able to resist the terrifying and domineering power. The fist shadow enveloped him, and he mobilized the power in his body, and poured it into his hands. The palm with the boxing glove suddenly burst into a black light. Now his only reliance is the boxing glove in his hand. This is a weapon level glove he accidentally got many years ago. Otherwise, he would not have broken Liu Shengai's sword. In the light, a black giant python appeared on his fist. As the power in his body continued to flow in, the black giant python on the boxing glove turned into several feet in size, exuding terrifying power, and attacked Li Chenzhao's fist. Bang! The two forces collided, and Li Chenzhao smashed the giant python with his fist, and went towards Zhao Bie. I didn't block it. Zhao Bie looked at the falling fist shadow, and felt cold in his heart. His trump card couldn't block the opponent's fist. He lost. Defeat means death. A strong man with concentrated mind, worthy of being a strong man with concentrated mind. Zhao Bie said this, while looking at the fist shadow falling towards him. Bang! The fist shadow hit Zhao Bie, and cracks began to appear on his whole body. Finally, his blood vessels burst, blood sprayed, and his body slowly fell into a pool of blood. With this boxing glove, the ordinary sea concentrated strongman may not be able to kill you. No wonder you didn't run away. Li Chenzhao came to Zhao Bie's body, and said in a deep voice. He raised his hand, and sucked the boxing glove on Zhao Bie's hand into his hand. Li Chenzhao's fist disappeared, and the drizzle continued to fall between the sky and the earth. Liu Shengyijian, who was on the side, recovered some of his energy and spirit at this moment. He glanced at Zhao Bie lying on the ground with some regret in his eyes. He stepped forward to check Zhao Bie, and found a brocade box in his arms. It seems that this thing is the purpose of his coming to Beijing. Liu Shengyijian opened the brocade box, but there was only a jade plate in the brocade box. He frowned slightly, picked up the brocade box, looked at Zhao Bie's body on the ground, and said in a deep voice, "It's a pity we don't have a chance to fight again." While speaking, the broken longsword in his hand burst out with sword energy, and it moved on the ground, forming a deep pit, and put Zhao Bie's body into the deep pit. Strong men need to be respected even after death. Zhao Xiaodi and the blue-skirted woman who were watching this scene not far away were horrified. They were horrified by Li Chenzhao's strength and Zhao Bie's trump card. It was a truly earth-shattering battle. The three dragon heads of the Azure Dragon Society were so strong. How strong would the second in the big dragon heads be? Zhao Xiaodi said as she watched Li Chenzhao and the other two leave. Li Chenzhao's power was so strong and overbearing that they were horrified and dared not approach. "Daughter, are we going back to the Paradise Palace now?" The blue-skirted woman next to Zhao Xiaodi said. "No, we are going to the Shan Gate of Lingnan County. I want to meet Su Chen of the Shan Gate," Zhao Xiaodi said. After seeing how strong the Azure Dragon Society was, she hoped to have more cooperation with the Azure Dragon Society. Why didn't she meet Li Chenzhao, Zhu Yiren, and Liu Shengyijian? It was mainly because these three people were so domineering and murderous that she was suppressed and unable to talk, so she wanted to meet Su Chen. No matter what, Su Chen was about the same age as her. Moreover, she was confident that her beauty could attract Su Chen. Compared with Zhuangji, Zhao Xiaodi was good at using her beauty. The two gradually disappeared in the rain, leaving only a lonely grave. Chapter 474. People from the Xiangsha Alliance want to kill Su Chen. Subscribe. Longbui County City Lord's Mansion. Corpses were placed in the corridor of the courtyard. They were the men in black who had stopped Zhao Xiaodi's carriage earlier. Looking at these corpses, Mo Feng's face was extremely gloomy. Zhao Xiaodi, since you killed the people I sent out, you really don't give me face. Mo Feng said harshly. Deal with these corpses. And how is Mr. Fang's bliss powder being prepared? Mo Feng said to the housekeeper beside him. Mr. Fang hasn't left the secret room yet, so I don't know his progress. My lord, when I was investigating the scene, I found a corpse in Zhao Bi's grave. I checked the wounds of Zhao Bi in the corpse. Zhao Bi was hit by a punch, and the force of the punch entered his body, and he died violently. Judging from the punch force, the one who did it should be Li Chenzhao, the 3 dragon leaders of the Qinglang Society. The other person was killed by a sword. Judging from the traces of swordsmanship, he died at the hands of Liu Sheng's sword. While the housekeeper was talking, he also arranged for someone to carry the corpse on the ground down. It seems that Zhao Bi wanted to leave in Zhao Xiaodi's carriage, but was discovered by the Qinglang Society. Did you find any trace of Zhao Xiaodi? Mo Feng said. No, I didn't find any trace of Zhao Xiaodi. The housekeeper said hurriedly. It's a pity. It seems that this opportunity has been missed. Mo Feng sighed. He wanted to use Zhao Xiaodi to improve his strength. Brother Mo, you don't need to sigh. It's still easy to meet Zhao Xiaodi. After my first batch of bliss powder is tested, you can ask the adults to send a message to her master and ask them to send someone to test our bliss powder. I think her master will send her. After all, the formula of bliss powder is given to us, and other people in Bliss Palace cannot know it. The old man surnamed Fang said. Mr. Fang is right. By the way, Mr. Fang, how is the preparation of bliss powder on your side? Mo Feng asked. The herbs are limited. I just prepared some. I also improved the medicinal properties and increased the dependence of the medicine. You will select some people as experimental subjects later. Mr. Fang said to the housekeeper. Mr. Fang, Shan Yuan Fang is going to hold a song and dance competition recently. Many young people with strength in Longbui County will gather here. I will select some people here. When the time comes, please ask the county governor and Mr. Fang to decide the personnel. The housekeeper said. Okay, get the list as soon as possible. Mr. Fang nodded with a satisfied look on his face. Mr. Fang, you just came out, and I have something to tell you. That is, Zhao Bi is dead, probably killed by the fist of Li Chenzhao, the 3rd dragon head of the Qinglang Society. Mo Feng then told Mr. Fang in front of him the news he had found out. Zhao Bi's purpose of coming here should not be for money. Xiangsha League is in charge of Lingjiang area, which is much more prosperous than the 9 northern counties. Xiangsha League should not care too much about the collection of this little wealth from Longbui County, so I guess Zhao Bi came to get a very important thing. Now that Zhao Bi is dead, do you think that thing was taken away by Qinglang Society? Mr. Fang said in a deep voice. It should be taken away by Qinglang Society, but it is unlikely for us to know what it is. And if the thing is important, I think Xiangsha League will not let it go. Mo Feng said in a deep voice. I hope that the World Alliance will not give up. Only when the World Alliance fights with the Qinglang Society can we develop and control some people in secret. The old man surnamed Fang said. Pay close attention to the movements of the World Alliance and think of a way to see how to lure Su Chen to Longbui County. Only when he comes to Longbui County can we have a chance to control him. The old man surnamed Fang then said in a deep voice. I will send a message immediately and ask the people in Lingjiang to send the news of the World Alliance at any time. The housekeeper replied immediately. As for how to lure Su Chen to Longbui County, the housekeeper did not interrupt. You go and do it. Mo Feng waved his hand. In the backyard of a tavern in Longbui County, in a dim room, a pale young man was playing with a very thin long sword in his hand. There were some special grooves on the long sword, and there was a mottled dark red on the grooves. It can be seen that this long sword has killed many people. It seems that Li Chen's house strength has reached the level of C concentration, otherwise, he would not be able to kill Xiao Bie. What a pity, I didn't expect that Xiao Bie. You didn't die in my hands, but died in the hands of the Qinglang Society. That is, the things that the alliance leader wanted were obtained by the Qinglang Society. The pale young man asked in a deep voice. Although his tone was calm, it revealed a sense of coldness. When I went there, I found that the body of Alliance leader Zio was dug out of the grave. So whether the things of Alliance leader Zio were taken away by the Qinglang Society, or by others, I haven't found out yet. The black-clothed man in front of him hurriedly said. What? You mean someone moved Zio Bi's grave and dug out his body? Hearing this, the pale young man's tone became cold. Forget about the Qinglang Society. First, find out who dug Xiao Bi's grave. I will cut him into pieces. The pale young man said coldly. Cough. Cough. After he spoke, he coughed. He took out a handkerchief from his bosom and covered his mouth with it. A trace of black blood was imprinted on the handkerchief. My lord, you. Seeing this, the man in black hurried forward and said. It's an old problem for many years. I can't die. The pale young man waved his hand and said. First find out who dug up Xiao Bi's grave, and tell me immediately. Yes, I will go to investigate immediately. After saying this, the man in black bowed and left the room. The pale young man put the long sword in his hand back to his waist. The long sword had no scabbard, so it was simply inserted. He picked up the wine pot on the table, and took a sip of wine. Qinglang, who you killed so many people from our Xiangxiameng, you also need to pay the price. Wait until I kill the person who insulted Xiao Bi's body, and I will go to Lingnan County. Su Chen, I hope you can take a few moves under my sword. The pale young man showed a fierce killing intent on his face. Although the Qinglang Society has become the overlord of the 9 northern counties, it has not set up branches in various places like other forces. If you want to kill the Qinglang Society, you can't find them. So he set his sights on Su Chen from the Shan sect. If the young leader of the Qinglang Society dies at the hands of their Jiangxia League, it will definitely be a great shame for the Qinglang Society. It will also let the world know how powerful their Jiangxia League is. Chapter 475, Sad Sword, Sad Wind Kindness, Subscription Request. Late at night, Mo Feng and Mr. Fang were drinking in a balcony in the backyard of the county magistrate's mansion. The Slangbei County is one of the best cities in the 9 northern counties. I didn't expect that the Qinglang Club didn't arrange anyone here. Mo Feng drank a glass of wine and said, I have never understood the structure of the Qinglang Club. In theory, they should belong to that kind of mysterious and powerful force, but now they have become more public and become the overlord of the 9 northern counties. Mr. Fang shook his head. It is a bit strange, or it may be for money. Su Chen may be an agent created by the Qinglang Club, given the title of Young Dragon Leader, so that he can plunder the money of the forces in the martial arts world of the 9 northern counties. Mo Feng said softly, if this is the case, it may be beneficial to us. When you have time, visit Wen Yifan, the governor of the 9 northern counties, and see if you can contact Su Chen through him. The old man surnamed Fang said, Wen Yifan is also a tragic figure. He planned for so long to become the governor of the 9 northern counties. But I didn't expect that the Qinglang Society would appear in the 9 northern counties, which instantly reduced his power by more than half. Now he can only rely on others. When talking about Wen Yifan, Mo Feng couldn't help but say. There was some disdain and pity in his tone. Don't underestimate Wen Yifan. He is very patient. After taking office, he didn't make any noise. But you don't really think that he has no power in his hands. The old man surnamed Fang said, shaking the palm leaf fan in his hand. Suddenly, his expression changed, and his eyes looked at the middle-aged butler standing not far away. At this moment, the middle-aged butler fell to the ground. His eyes were stunned, and his head wanted to look back. He wanted to know who attacked him. But the other party didn't give him a chance, and kicked the body lying on the ground, directly kicking it on the stone pillar not far away. Who are you? Seeing this, Mo Feng and the old man surnamed Fang stood up at the same time, and Mo Feng shouted at the newcomer. When he shouted, he also saw the appearance of the person who came. A pale young man was walking towards the two of them step by step. "I'm here to take your lives." The young man's voice was cold. "He is looking for death. Kill him." Seeing this, Mo Feng shouted in a low voice, and several figures appeared around the courtyard and attacked the young man at the same time. But when these people were about to attack the young man, the long sword on the young man's waist stabbed out instantly. In the darkness, several lights flashed. The people who attacked the young man fell to the ground, holding their throats. They were all cut in the throat by the young man's sword. "Are you from the Qinglang Society?" Seeing this, Mo Feng frowned. Qinglang Society has many swordsmen, among whom are Fei and Jing Wuming, have very fast swordsmanship, so the first thing that came to Mo Feng's mind was that the person who came was from Qinglang Society. "Did you dig up Xiao Bi's grave and take anything from him?" The person who came did not answer Mo Feng's words, but asked, "Take the things?" Hearing the words of the visitor, Mo Feng and the old man surnamed Fang looked at each other and said, "We just checked the wounds on the other party's body and didn't see anything." Mo Feng said. His eyes were fixed on the visitor. The other party's aura was restrained. He just killed his housekeeper without using any strength in his body. He killed his housekeeper and the people who just surrounded him with the speed of the sword in his hand. So he couldn't know the strength of the other party. "That means there is no point in keeping you," the visitor said in a very cold voice. "You are so arrogant. Do you think you can kill us? Don't you feel that there is something in the air around you? Is the blood circulation in your body not smooth?" Mr. Fang, who was holding a cat-tail leaf fan, said. The old man surnamed Fang was born Fang Mu and was good at using poison. When the young man appeared just now, he had poisoned the surrounding area. Now the poison permeates the entire courtyard. The young man said so much and inhaled a lot of poison. Ahem. As he finished speaking, the young man began to cough. He took out a white handkerchief from his bosom and covered his mouth. There was some dark red blood on the handkerchief. Seeing this, Mo Feng's eyes became cold. "It seems that you are poisoned. I wonder if you can survive a few moves in my hands." While Mo Feng was speaking, he jumped up, stretched out his palm into a claw, and a cold breath permeated over his fingertips and grabbed the young man's head. The speed was extremely fast, and the claws were sharp. Facing the young man who was attacking him, his expression did not change at all. When he approached, the young man's eyes flashed with cold light, and the long sword inserted in his waist instantly pierced out. The sword light penetrated the claw shadow like a thin bamboo and pierced into Mo Feng's throat. The terrifying sword light made Mo Feng's pupils shrink suddenly, and an incomparable sense of panic instantly surged throughout his body. He wanted to retreat and twisted his body forcibly, but the opponent's sword light seemed to know the direction of his body twisting, waiting for him there. Swish! The sword light pierced directly into his throat. "I didn't expect that I could kill you without using too much of my energy. It's really disappointing." The moment his throat was pierced, he heard the sigh of the young man who made the move. On the other side, the old man surnamed Fang's face changed, and he jumped up. Several black lights flew out of the palm leaf fan in his hand and shot towards the other party. Clang clang clang, but all these black lights were blocked by the other party's long sword. Plop! At this time, Mo Feng's body, whose throat was pierced, fell to the ground. The old man surnamed Fang jumped out and appeared beside Mo Feng's body. Looking at Mo Feng's body, he looked at the young man opposite with a sinister look. "You killed him. Who are you? Why are you not poisoned?" The old man surnamed Fang asked in a low roar. "You will deserve to die for desecrating the body of Alliance leader Xiao. Also, who am I? My name is Bei Fengshen," the pale-faced young man said in a deep voice. Bei Fengshen, the sad sword among the three great sword masters under the seat of the leader of Xiangsha Alliance, Bei Fengshen. As soon as Bei Fengshen called out, the old man surnamed Fang's face changed. He turned around and fled directly. He was no match for Bei Fengshen. It was just that he had just retreated. Bei Fengshen in front of him flashed and appeared in front of him as if teleporting. The old man surnamed Fang's face changed drastically. "I don't know about the matter of the leader Xiao. Please spare my life." He begged for mercy. But when the words of begging for mercy fell, he slapped out with both palms. Heavenly wolf poison killing palm. Boom boom boom. Just begging for mercy just now was just to buy himself some time. Those who knew Beifengchen knew that this person was ruthless and would not care about his begging for mercy. The dark green energy from his palm slapped out and bombarded the other party's body. But when his hand shadow approached Beifengchen, it was all blocked by the sword light, and his palms hurt and were covered with bloodstains. The old man surnamed Fang was horrified. He had attacked, but had not caused any harm to the other party. The other party's sword energy had even pierced his palm. While he was horrified, a sword light pierced his heart. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.